said during a joint press conference with his Djibouti counterpart Ismail Gule that the move is aimed at fostering people-to-people interactions, trade and investment. He reiterated his administration's commitment to eliminating the barriers imposed by visa requirements for Djiboutian citizens travelling to Kenya. The two leaders did not, however, give a timeline for the realization of the new visa-free arrangement. And the Parliamentary Committee on Finance has reached a consensus on all controversial clauses in the Finance Bill of 2023. The committee agreed to amend some of the controversial clauses after a 5 days retreat in Naivasha.
We are going to make amendments to several clauses. We have also tied ends because there's some clauses, for example, that the definition could be prone to abuse. So there are some that's been tightening on, for example, the definition to make sure again that our tax policy becomes simple, becomes understandable, and is not subject to different interpretations. There are some instances where a rate, for example, was not expressly given. So we have, after listening to the stakeholders, we have agreed on which rates we are going to have. So we are generally in agreement, and now we are ready to table our reports come Tuesday.
Though they did not divulge which clauses had been amended, the committee said that all views and petitions from members of the public had been addressed.
Unfortunately, the debate about the bill has taken a political twist, and it's really sad when I hear members of parliament saying that you have to withdraw the entire bill, members of the public saying, members of parliament saying that you're going to go on streets. Our colleagues from opposition and even some from our coalition should know that they can actually write to the speaker and make amendments. Amendments have been brought by members of parliament at the floor of the house, and some of them have seen the light of day. So I'm finding it really ironical when my colleagues are saying, no, if you have a better idea, please bring an amendment.
The committee is expected to table its report tomorrow ahead of the budget reading by Treasury Cabinet Secretary Njuguna Ndungu. And the government has warned that it will not tolerate protest and destruction of property over the Finance Bill 2023, which the opposition has vehemently opposed. Speaking during a church service at a Methodist church in Tharaka Nithi's Marimanti town, Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki says resorting to protest and causing damage to public and private property is not a constructive way to address grievances on proposed tax measures. Instead, Kindiki urged politicians to take the contest over Finance Bill 2023 to the House and advised those who suffer defeat to seek redress in the courts.
Nataka niseme hatutakubali mwananchi wowote katika Kenya hii akijizingizia ya kwamba ako na malalamiko fulani kuvunja sheria, kuumiza wananchi wasio na hatia, kutatiza uchukuzi wa umma, kutatiza biashara ama kutishia maisha ya watu wengine. We will not allow it. Mimi nimesikia wabunge mko na mjadala sijui wa sheria ya mambo ya kodi. Hiyo mswada, wabunge wa Kenya Kwanza, wabunge wa upinzani, mwendeni kule bunge mjadiliane, mumalizanie huko kwa bunge. Pale bunge kura ikipigwa, wenye wameshinda washinde, wenye wameshindwa wangojee siku nyingine.
National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula has urged MPs to engage in a sober debate on the finance bill, saying the legislators have the power to amend contentious clauses in the proposed law. Wetangula, while noting that he encouraged the raging debate on the bill's sobriety should prevail, he asked leaders not to mislead wananchi on the context of the document. He added that MPs sit in committees where they hold the opportunity to scrutinize the bill and make changes to clauses that they feel were not good for the people they represent. And Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has asked security officers in Laikipia to intensify operations in the region, saying the government will not tolerate laxity in ensuring safety of the people. Speaking in Nyahururu town, Laikipia County, where he joined the faithfuls for a service and a fundraiser, the DP said the government will ensure everyone was secure in the region. The Deputy President said they will intensify efforts to ensure peace prevailed in the country as earlier promised. This is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. Good morning.
102.5 Spice FM, Kisumu.
When you're impeached, you're impeached. When you are sentenced, you are sentenced.
Madam Chief Justice.
Until the sentence is set aside. Ukibeba vitu kwa roho utakufa. If you carry things in your heart, you will die.
You've had the luxury of living for 50 years and you cannot still explain yourself. Surely. Oh my God.
The reason for which you went to school and then gathered experience, that reason must be paid for.
All right.
Oh, okay.
This level.
Shape up or ship out.
Levels don't change.
No.
It's about shipping up.
You're my business partner here.
Shipping out.
Are we talking about the sheep in the bathtub? Or
the ship man.
One of Talabu used to tell us a story of they were in school and they'd been told to write composition about a ship. His classmate raises a hand. Teacher, are you talking about a sheep or a sheep goat?
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Spice FM. Spice up your life.
3, 2.
Everybody, welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation.
Heri Latifa, Muga, Madam Du, nimesalimia wote sana.
Tumepokea salamu, asante sana.
Hapa Garissa today the weather is very good, only that baridi inatupeleka mbio sana.
the baridi ni degree ngapi hapo?
Hata sijui lakini madam tunakauka sana.
If you want to follow the money trail, you've got to think like a thief to be able to catch that thief.
A slap from a friend is better than a kiss from an enemy. You remember the kiss of Judas Iscariot? Iscariot.
Yes.
Is the one that imetuweka kwa hii mashida yote na mataabu kwa sababu of that kiss. Yet the slap of Jesus Christ when he slapped those guys and walikuwa wanauza mboga ndani ya kanisa took them to heaven.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
You tune into Kenya's biggest conversation. My name is Ramanya.
Amen.
So now it's over?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It gets over.
Can you imagine
in 20 minutes?
What the big boys have also done?
I'm very proud of myself.
When you understand about partnership in politics, it's like the way marriage is these days. When you're looking for a wife, you're like, maybe you can help me pay for fees as I pay for the rent.
Why should you have a lioness living in your bedroom?
I have to tell you a story. I went for a prayer meeting, which was called for the spouses of candidates for senators and governors. And when I got to the gate, the lady who was the secretary, she refused to. She's telling me, no. Leo tunataka wa mama. Leo ni wa mama. I'm telling her, no. She said, no, sio siku yenu. And I thought, there's a problem here,
Good morning and welcome to Monday. What are we looking at on these Nairobi streets? A little bit of traffic starting to build up, that's for sure. On Njoroge Road this morning, have some as you're getting towards Landis and out towards the CBD. We'll see it coming off Thika Superhighway as well. But still slim pickings, and we'll see that Monday morning will be busy. But for now, I think we'll be doing all right. Your bypasses are looking good. Let's see what the build-up looks like later on. And if you haven't left, now might be a good time to do so. And if you have, you're probably already where you're going. Let's see how Monday morning opens up. Let's talk on Spice FMKE on Twitter. Keep things moving this Monday.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latin, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room.
Yes,
the only
it is.
way to start your day.
Doing? Hope you had a wonderful and lovely weekend. Good morning. Welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation. This lovely Monday morning. It's the 12th day of June. Yeah, already.
Imagine.
Mid-June. Just like that, we are going and moving. Moving and moving. Huh? How was your weekend, Ndu?
It was all right. It was all right. Good morning, Eric.
Good morning to you. Yes.
It's freezing in here.
This
like
winter
is coming.
Here. Why is it that people think AC means low temperature?
Because you're hot outside, you come and you put on the AC.
Air conditioning doesn't mean that you go to the lowest, that now is 0. Just people.
How was your weekend, Eric?
My weekend was fine until I entered in here.
Well, it's no longer the weekend.
It's just ruining everything that I had. The chilled weekend, easy weekend. At least yesterday, mostly yesterday was an easy Sunday. Easy, not just a Sunday morning, easy Sunday day.
Easy Sunday. Okay.
Completely.
Ulienda kuimba na watu Saturday?
Saturday nilikuwa nacheza mpira.
Ulicheza wewe sasa na mguu.
Nilikuwa nashangilia wachezaji wa mpira.
Usiku?
Hata mchana.
Okay.
Yes. Hata mchana.
That is good.
Yes. There's a tournament that has been taking place in Kajiado County for 7 seasons now. It's called the Moran. We call it the Moran World Cup. Where various teams from across Kajiado County, just youthful teams, participate in a league that culminates in some extravaganza in the second week of December every year.
Yeah.
And it's called the Moran World Cup. And I've told you this before.
Yes, you have.
Yeah, so we are organizing this year's one. And that now, of course, we keep interacting with the people.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes.
So there's more games on Saturday. Beautiful.
So City is away today. He will hopefully be joining us tomorrow. And so we are okay. Let me tell you what we'll be discussing. Hoping you had a wonderful weekend, everybody, wherever you tuned in. At 7 a.m., we will be hosting somebody from the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights. He is a commissioner. His name is Dr. Dennis Wamalwa. Dr. Dennis Wamalwa is, let me just tell you what he told me to introduce him as. Okay? Dr. Dennis Wamalwa, PhD, is a commissioner with the KNCHR and the first intersex person to hold a state office in Kenya, Africa, and the world.
Okay.
First, intersex person. What is intersex? Now, that's a big one. When those people are coming to counters in 2019, this particular time, those tablets that they had, and they're asking for gender, and there were 3 options. You're either male, you're female, or you're intersex. And many people are just like, huh?
What are those?
What are those? What do I look like?
Sure.
Okay. There are many people who actually registered as intersex. And the statistics from the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics now have indicated that that's been captured. Dr. Wamalwa is one of those, and he is a commissioner with the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights. And he plus his fellow commissioners have published the Intersex Persons Bill 2023 that is seeking to highlight the plight of intersex persons and also to guarantee them their constitutional rights. He'll be here at 7 a.m. so we can have that conversation with him to understand, first of all, the intersex persons, and number 2, to understand the bill and the importance of that bill. That is at what time? That is at 7 a.m. At 8 a.m., there's a conversation that we had on Friday here, and it's about the power of citizens in getting the change that they want. Now, to continue that conversation, we have invited a man called Happy Olal. Happy is the national convener for the Social Justice Centers Working Group, and the social justice centers across the country have been working on those. Basically, they're the grassroots level mobilization for social justice. Happy will come and tell us what they've been doing and the power of citizen agency. You see where that leads us. And then at 9 a.m., we have a conversation about this elusive universal health coverage. So there are all these talks now about NHIF. I saw Health CS Nakumicha thanking the Treasury for releasing money to NHIF. And people are asking, wait a minute, why is the Treasury releasing money for NHIF?
Why?
We contribute money directly to NHIF.
So
it should not go to Treasury. Anyway, so the Honorable Anthony Kibagendi is the MP for Kitutu Churches South. He's also a member of the Health Committee of the National Assembly. He'll come. He'll tell us how they're oversighting this whole health manenos. That's at 9 a.m.
Ni sawa.
Yote ni sawa? Very good. Let's take a break then. Tell us about the weather. 16 minutes after 6, we're live streaming the show. Mumbi got the thing right now. This day.
Wow. Hi, Eric.
So it's working. It's live stream is up on YouTube and Facebook. Say hello to Eric and Ndu and Mumbi, and we will be acknowledging your presence from wherever you're tuned in this morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
You think you can guess the year?
2007. That's when the theme song, that's when it premiered for the James Bond movies.
You're half correct. But in terms of guessing the year?
Okay, if not 2007, then 1963.
Oh, now you're just throwing things, eh? You're throwing the sufria and everything outside.
The Spice Drive. Big hair and the biggest hits from the best decade.
Tune in to the Spice Drive with me, Edward Quatch, 3 to 7 in the p.m.
The Spice Drive, only on 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Okay, so Nairobi, we're looking at cloudy conditions at 15, highs of 25 and lows of 14. It's cloudy at 16 in Nakuru, highs of 24, and we'll see highs of 24 and mostly cloudy in Nyeri at 14, going to highs of 24. 23 will be the high in a clear Eldoret, and at 23 it's mostly clear in Mombasa, highs of 30. We'll see highs of 30 as well in a cloudy Malindi at 26. It's 19 and clear in Kisumu, highs of 28, and we'll see highs of 27 in a clear Kakamega at 17. 18 and clear in Kampala, highs of 27 and lows of 18, and it's mostly clear at 22 in Dar es Salaam. It'll go to highs of 30 and lows of 22. It's 9 degrees and partly cloudy in Joburg, highs of 18 and lows of 3, and it's mostly clear at 25 in Lagos with highs of 30. 30 will be the high in a cloudy Kinshasa at 23. Monday afternoon is 27 and sunny in Beijing, highs of 31 and lows of 19, and it's mostly cloudy at 18 in Paris, highs of 29 and lows of 17, 19 and cloudy in London with thunderstorms possibly later, highs of 27, and at 21 degrees Sunday night in New York is partly cloudy. Coming into Monday, we'll see highs of 28 and lows of 19.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right.
19 minutes after 6.
There are people online this morning. Tuck, there they are. Hebu wawekewe jiko. I agree. Bwana. Rajab Hatibu says, good morning, CT Ndu and Lati. We'll greet CT whether he's here or not. Salam zifike kwa Edna, listening from Mombasa. The Edna for today is Mumbi. Okay, both of you, Edna and Mumbi. Segecha says, good morning. Morning, Nikondani Kabisa, live from Helsinki. Helsinki is in which country? Eric?
Helsinki? He's in that country. Starts with an F.
Oh, well done. Okay. Cyrus Brazza says,
France.
Fiji. Okay.
Fiji.
Chris Baraza says, good morning, tuning from Dallas, the real Dallas, the Kenyan capital of the USA. Not Dallas. Cyrus Kalasinga says, good morning. Good morning, 3 aminos. I think you meant to say amigos, but okay. Are we going to see Edna's temporary placeholder? Mumbi. Public participation, the results are saying they want to see you. They want to see who Mumbi is.
Very good.
Or are we just supposed to imagine how she looks like?
No.
This
should not be the case.
We shall show you her. Kyla Ogwang says, good morning. Wazito listening in from County 48 in Doha. Okay. Ebu, Jiko, we don't want those homers of yours again. Miskia.
Buana.
Assalamu alaikum from Dubai. Assalamualaikum alam. That's what we say. Aslam. He has spelled it very interesting.
And what did you say?
Aslam. Actually, it's spelled correctly. Alaikum salam.
No, you had said something.
Did I?
Different.
My tongue was somewhere else. Okay, so good morning from Dubai. Cliff Ombachi says, good morning, Eric, CT, and Ndu. Yes, regarding our Kenyan politics. Asifuye mvua imenyea.
Imemnyea. Aisifuye mvua imemnyea.
Okay.
One who sings praises about the rain has been rained on. It's direct translation.
Okay. Good morning, Eric and Ndu. How was your weekend? Listening from Siaya Kababa. Hesbon Mborogo says, good morning from Doha, Our Kenya is in safe hands. The sleeping master is Kenya's enemy. Okay. Tuning from Djibouti, Thomas Mapesa says, good morning. His Excellency William Samoei Ruto is here with us prosecuting the regional integration agenda. Okay. Do say hello, won't you? Shaban says, hello, tuning from Mombasa. Work Sema Kukesha. Oh, really? All night. John Gishoki says, good morning from Laikipia. And Lamek says, good morning, Latif and Ndu, following from Orianenburg in Berlin is where Willard Mwanga is this morning. I know that there's some other folks on Facebook as well as Twitter. We'll get round to you in a minute, guys. But we see you, we hear you. Thanks for joining us this morning. Karibuni sana.
Let me read this one. I received a message from Kilunda, who's listening from Dorset County. And he says, greetings to Wakwito Nduko and Eric the Gunner.
You know, you have to be careful. You say Dorset County.
Ako Dorset.
So if I were you.
Kilunda is in Dorset. Wasiata mwano. Nduko.
Wasiata.
Sen, museo.
Museo.
Bas.
Okay.
Very good.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So you'll be reading the others shortly.
Yes.
As we continue.
I can see Tim is inside there trying to do something. Is
all
his
right.
name Tim?
Okay.
We'll just name you Tim for today.
Yeah, he's a team player. Let me give you today's proverb. And this week's proverbs, CT says, are going to come from the country of Zambia. Was the president in Zambia last week?
He was, actually. Yes, he was.
He was, eh?
Yes, he was.
He was there?
Yes, he was.
Meeting with the Comesa peoples?
Yep.
Okay, proverb from Zambia. Jump over a log, but not over your neighbor's word.
Your neighbor's what?
Word.
Word like word.
Jump over a log, but not over a neighbor's word.
Huh, interesting. Okay.
Usiruke mtu kipetero kiyesu.
No, you've not helped me in any way.
Kuruka mtu kipetero kiyesu. You know Petero?
No.
Of the Bible.
What's Peter?
You know Yesu?
Betray. Do not. Yes, betray, right?
Peter aliruka Yesu.
He betrayed him.
Sindio?
Yeah, he betrayed him. So don't betray your neighbor. Essentially, is what
mtu kipetero kiyesu.
Okay.
Si poa.
So.
Hi, let's look at the headlines.
All right, so on the front page of the Standard this morning, we're being told that reforms have caused a shocker to universities. It's a diploma shocker. In new proposals to be presented to the president later this week, experts say universities should not offer diploma and certificate courses, a move that will make many institutions drop one of three things: facilities, lecturers, and students, or all. Have you heard what I said? Diploma courses to be dropped from universities. That is a big deal.
So universities to focus on degree courses.
Yes.
And then if you want a diploma, you go to a TVET.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There's a picture there of President William Ruto and his host, Djibouti President Ismail Omar Guelleh, at the presidential palace in Djibouti yesterday. So he's around the continent on several issues. Raila is in a new mass action threat if levies are raised, he says. And Trump is still a headline act in spite of charges. The man just doesn't go away. He's like a bad rash, they say. Activists fear killer police are back with vengeance. There's a picture of our friend there on the front page. But then that story is on page 3 about their fear that police may have gone rogue or that will go rogue. Haki Africa Executive Director Hussein Khalid is talking about this and says care needs to be applied. On the front page of The Nation, Ruto is following in Uhuru's footsteps, they say. Same script, different cast, or maybe same cast. He vowed to chart his own path during the campaigns, but after just about 9 months in office, the actions and policies of President William Ruto's administration have so far done little to differentiate it from those of his predecessor, Uhuru Kenyatta. Traders protest as Kenya bans milk imports from Uganda. And you wonder why traders are up in arms? Well, because it's cheaper, and that means that they're going to be locked out of a particular market. Give us more cash, say principals, after the release of 24 billion. We need more, they say. And one headline that should grab us all now, the return of COVID. Kenyans urged to be careful as hospitals report more COVID-19 cases.
Okay. Those are the two.
Those are them.
Okay, we can look at one before we take a break.
Okay.
Where do you want to start?
Allow me to look at this COVID one first.
Start with that one.
Okay.
Okay.
So everybody was up in cough, or is, and it's been going rounds, and folks have then been presenting to hospital. And what we're being told now that actually there is a resurgence of COVID-19 infections in terms of its severity. We do not know just yet. The country could be experiencing a silent surge in the number of patients requiring oxygen as the country faces a new wave of COVID-19. In the recent past, a number of Kenyans have tested positive for the virus, with many experiencing severe symptoms that warrant oxygen therapy to enable them breathe. Last week, a lady with a different name went to one of the country's leading private hospitals after experiencing breathing difficulties. On arrival, she was told that all the machines were busy and that the number of Kenyans needing oxygen was quietly increasing. She left and sought help at Kenyatta National Hospital, where she spent 2 days on oxygen to stabilize her breathing. I don't know what happened, she said. It started with a loss of taste and smell, then severe chest pain. I went for tests and tested positive for COVID-19. And after 2 days, it was severe. I could not breathe. She's not alone, according to this story. 3 of her colleagues had also tested positive. Contacting the hospital, the response was that Kenyans should be careful as COVID-19 is still here. It is not a lie. We are seeing about 4 patients a day coming in needing oxygen. That is worrying because our machines have been treating other patients, not those with COVID. We should be worried, according to an ICU nurse who was not authorized to speak to the media but spoke anyway in anonymity. Okay, so that's it. And now, remember at the beginning of, this whole COVID thing about 3 years ago, it was that you have the symptoms and people were mild. But by the time you're going to hospital and you need breathing assistance, respiratory assistance, then that is a problem. And it is quite severe because your normal levels of oxygen should be 98 and above, right? 97 and above. By the time you need assistance to breathe, you've probably docked some percentage.
Below 90.
Yes. And to be able to have to stabilize breathing, then it's pretty severe. Now you can imagine those who don't get help breathing, unfortunately, in many cases will pass. So it's a warning shot. It's out there for folks to be careful. I don't know what we're going to see. Ministry of Health has not come out and told us about any specific numbers in terms of what's going on here.
But there's congestion in hospitals.
Yes.
You say?
Yes. Well, according to this story, that respiratory machines were being used for other things, and now they have to pull some people off and, stabilize breathing for those who are coming in and testing positive for COVID. Likelihood that if you did a community footprint, you probably would find that over in the last couple of weeks, you have a lot of people who are positive.
Yeah.
Okay, it's about taking caution, and obviously now, those that have not gotten a vaccine, go get a vaccine. Those that have not gotten a booster, maybe go get a booster, and think about that and see how we run out of this. In Uganda, the president has tested positive for COVID and he's been recuperating. His symptoms were mild, but he's been updating people. This is a message to all Ugandans, especially the Basukulu. I don't know who those are, And he gives, his journey on a daily basis. He talks about some serious fatigue that he's just been feeling, sleeping a lot. He was talking about, waking up late in the morning and still feeling sleepy and going back to sleep during the day and then sleeping early at night. And so this is what he is describing as his own symptoms for COVID. So there's maybe a wave going round. It's all about taking care.
Yep.
It's 28 minutes to 7. Let's take this break to take a look at what we call the weather forecast.
Traffic, otherwise known as traffic.
It's traffic.
Yeah.
Oh, it's traffic now, not weather. Sawa, let's do traffic. Have you subscribed to Nairobi? And you need to go to epaper.standardmedia.co.ke. That's epaper.standardmedia.co.ke. Select the Nairobian, get to access the Nairobian. It's actually now very, very big online, as well as coming out every Friday as a physical paper. But if you missed it from your vendor, because that thing goes like hotcake, the Nairobian. My friend, by 10 a.m., Nairobian gone. So if you missed your copy last week, just go to epaper.standardmedia.co.ke and you get your copy. This also allows you to read the Nairobian from wherever, whichever part of the world you're in. Let's take that break.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Bro, the game is about to start. Let's go. Yeah. But just give me a minute, man. Malize. What's up? Who are you chatting with? I'm just filing my returns, then we bounce. Because I hope you remember the deadline is June 30th. The game will start, banner. Where? It doesn't take time. And yep, I'm done. That was fast. Where? Show me how you've done yours, because I don't want to pay any penalty. Just log into itax.kra.go.ke and file your returns. And if you don't know how to, just go to KRA's YouTube page and watch a tutorial. It's that easy. Allah, filing returns is easier than cooking. Easy peasy, say.
Kenya Revenue Authority reminds all PIN holders to file their 2022 tax returns on or before 30th of June 2023. For assistance, call 0711 099 999 or email callcenter@kra.go.ke. You can also visit any of the KRA service centers or any Huduma center countrywide. Kenya Revenue Authority. Tulipe ushuru, tujitegemee.
Okay, this morning, traffic building up on Njoroge Road heading out towards the city, and as you get onto Landis, it's not too bad now. We'll see some of it getting around to that roundabout right around Kamkunji. Let's take a look at the Thika Superhighway, where traffic is hot and heavy, delivering it like that, very hot, all the way from well beyond Zimmerman, Githurai, coming in from KU. Traffic really heavy this morning. You want to use your service lanes, there's an option for you to run away from this potential madness, is what it looks like at 6:30. If it's this heavy, it's going to get heavier getting towards 7. The Northern Bypass with some traffic as you're skipping over Kambu Road, but not too bad for now. Limuru is still looking good. Folks have not gotten up yet, so if you normally use that road, now is time to get out of it. Village Markets then coming out on Limuru Road. Red Hill come in from that area. Shouldn't be too bad for now. Looks good on Gong Road, as well as coming off James Gishuru and towards Waiaki Way. Still early. Let's take a look about 7 and see what it looks like. Monday morning starting off right. Spice of MKE on Twitter.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM.
All right,
Nairobi.
25-7. The headline in the Standard this morning is the diploma shocker to universities. That story is on page 6. Universities could be dealt a blow if a proposal by the education reforms team to restrict the institutions to degree courses is adopted. The Standard has established that the Presidential Working Party on Education Reforms wants all universities barred from teaching diploma and certificate courses. This matter has split members of the task force, understandably. Some of them are saying the diplomas and certificates can be taught either in university or technical and vocational training colleges. What is, however, true is that TVETs cannot teach degree courses.
Okay.
Others are arguing that most universities have middle-level colleges that would fall under the TVET. University College of that is like a TVET. Okay, so let them do your degree and no diploma and certificate courses. This report is likely to be released this week. Last week, the team was holding a validation meeting in Nairobi, and during the meeting, it emerged that they have recommended that the CBC 263333 education system remain unchanged. They also propose that there be no longer categorization of schools. Yay.
Finally.
Yeah. So no more categorization of into national, county, extra county or county. It's important though to see how we make this transition work seamlessly. There will, however, be options in subjects taken by learners to determine career choice, with KICD required to rationalize the number of learning areas. So, the arts schools, the science schools.
Yeah.
So you clearly know that if you
went to this school,
especially in the higher secondary, then you're going to this higher secondary that is focused
on the
sciences. Okay. All right. So if you're doing math, you're doing higher level math. And if you go to another, because you'll still do math, even in the art schools, you're doing standard level math, for instance, okay? Even though the issue of abolition of boarding schools was discussed, the Standard has established that this committee is split on whether to actually abolish boarding schools.
Not going to happen.
What was, however, agreed is on the need to strengthen boarding schools in the marginalized areas. Those counties that have issues, strengthen boarding schools. I don't see abolition of boarding schools taking place.
Neither do I.
So this is going to be a very big one, on especially that one of scrapping diploma and certificate from universities.
If anything, it's going to add to the melee that's already going on at the varsity level right now. I mean, what are we talking about? Funding, I don't know, CUSPs having an issue with who, and I don't know what. Then in all of that, you come and say, well, thank you very much. Remove now diploma courses from universities. It's just going to be one whole circus. And we can already see that.
It should be removed, though. Let universities concentrate on this thing.
Because,
degree and research.
Because they have been focusing a lot. Because you can go to the university and you do a 2-year degree course. You come back to, a bridging course, and you do this all at university. I do agree 100%. It's for degrees. It's for research. It should focus on that. What will also happen as a result of that is that tertiary institutions will then be strengthened.
Yep.
Put your and because the TVET system was introduced for a reason, have your skilled courses as well as your diploma courses at TVETs. Do it so these other folks can concentrate on what they ought to be doing.
If it's about teaching, you go to teacher training college, you get your diploma and higher diploma. If it's about any of the sciences, go to those colleges and get a diploma and higher national diploma. Then you can go to university for the degree course. However, maybe what they should also discuss is that entry grade for university. Because retaining it at the C clearly locks out very many people.
Yep.
If every year close to 1 million students sit the KCSE exam and less than 200,000 get that degree, they get that qualification, not even going. The ones that get that grade, less than 200,000. It's just about a fifth.
Then there's a problem there. Yeah, and it happens every year.
Every year. So it locks out very many people who would also be wanting to go to university. It locks out the opportunity for these universities to also have many students. So you have universities that are all below capacity in terms of degree courses. So this should change. And also, then this also happens elsewhere. I think police service was being told the police service changed it the other day. But before, it didn't matter. If you got less than C-, you went and did a diploma somewhere, and then through that diploma, you found your way into university, you got a university degree, and you're seeking promotion in the police service, they look at your KCSE results.
Yeah.
Did you get a C and above, a C+ and above? You did. Doesn't matter how many degrees you have.
Out.
They don't consider you. So, but that's changed, apparently. Another story from still the teaching fraternity.
Yeah.
The Teacher Service Commission has, for the third time, advertised 1,001 positions to be filled at senior school managerial level. 1001.
So what's the problem?
So, Teacher Service Commission is looking for headmasters and above and principals. The problem is that not many teachers are applying for it.
Why?
Because teachers do not want to go into that. They're like, you only shida tupu. Shida tupu. Kusumbuliwa unakukuliwa kichwa. Listen to this. A high school principal who sought anonymity for fear of facing reprisal said the positions are a poisoned chalice. That they are used to punish managers, and that is why majority of teachers are not keen to show interest in the advertised positions. When you're picked for the position, you'll be taken to a hardship area as a disciplinary measure. You are expected to be there for 5 years before you can apply for any transfer, as said this principal, while shedding light on why more than 1,000 positions are not eliciting interest. According to the Kenya Primary School Heads Association Chairman Johnson Zioka, teachers fear being moved from their preferred stations. Also, the Kenya Secondary School Heads Association Chairman Kahi Ndimuli said the dire situation in schools in terms of capitation challenges is discouraging eligible teachers from expressing interest in the positions that come with increased responsibilities and perks. At the moment, schools are being stressed. I'm aware of schools that have not been able to pay workers' salaries since last term, around February. Nobody would wish to wade into such murky waters. According to Ndimuli, the buck stops with the principal. The students erupt, and to an observer, it becomes poor management on the side of the principal. Nobody looks as whether the head was well facilitated to perform his duties. This is a big issue.
It is. It is.
Because this position, people are just like, you get in to become a principal, students fall sick, you're the one. Yeah, this number of students fell sick in your school, and you're the principal. First of all, number one, even before we discuss this story, can that principal please go? Can the principal go? You're not asking, so had the principal taken some measures? What had the principal done? Is this actually a direct result of principal's action or lack of action and all those things? No. Students erupt. There's an issue. Oh, students have burnt a dormitory. Students are on strike. Students have poured onto the streets. Principal, first of all, principal, go.
What's happening in your
Then
school?
we discuss, So principals are like,
then Treasury has not released money. Principal.
You have all these challenges. You're not paying staff, so your watchmen are not coming to school. Your other workers are not coming to school because you've not been paid. You're trying to struggle with this and the other. The people are saying you're raising school fees. You're running a cartel of school uniform. You're doing all this, and everybody is looking at what you're not doing. So teachers are like, hii kazi hii.
Actually,
Hii. It doesn't matter the salary and everything else that comes with it. I do not want it. That is a big issue that needs basically
it's a big one, and it's going to blow up in a minute because you're not going to have people who are heading these institutions.
Imagine the TSC is advertising these positions for the third time. First time they advertised, no applicants, and we have all those many teachers. Second time, all those many qualified teachers not advertising for it.
So
no, I mean not applying.
It comes. The time has come where there needs to be some some interrogation of the system whereby somebody goes into that position and they feel unprotected from all sides, whether it's your employer, the TSC, whether it is those you work for, the students and the parents, whether it is the staff that work under you. There needs to be some level of protection. I think, and needs to be looked at. The system for a system to look the way it does, it means it's failing. if you don't have people jumping at these opportunities for promotion, it's failing.
There's an issue. There's a big issue. Also, the other thing that is being cited here is the lack of promotion by the Teacher Service Commission. For example, Akelo Misori of Kupet says teachers have been stagnating in the same job group for several years without moving to the next level, and that situation has completely demoralized the teachers. The TSC has failed to give progressive promotion according to the CBA. If you're in job group B3 and you are as principal of a school, you cannot apply for B4 if you have not taken more than 3 years in the current position. So people who are just stuck at one level, so you cannot go to B4, and then this one is looking for a certain grade. So it's just all issues within the TSC and issues in the education sector. This one is a major one.
It is a big one. It has to be dealt with.
Yes.
I mean, it has to be dealt with while, you're still looking for money to fund schools, while you're still looking for money to pay those who build classrooms, while you're still looking for, And that thing you read before about the decategorization of schools, my friend, it's in a report. Somebody's going to start rolling it out. If it is not carefully and thoroughly planned out, we'll be in a worse situation than we currently are right now.
Yeah. So now suddenly, from next intake, all schools are the same.
So even that selection that children do before
Forget about
the
selection.
KCPE, there's no selection.
Nataka mtoto wangu aende Alliance.
All of us, in fact, we're here. We're here.
First of all, the local MP, the local MP is Kimani Ichung'wah for Alliance. He'll be there saying, all my children
come.
Yeah. Remember what we hosted here, Gigi Kagombe?
Yeah.
From Gatondo, Gatondo South.
That his people.
And he was saying that his schools, Kina Mangu, Kina all, are locked out for his students. Now, can you imagine what's going to happen? This is Mangu, this is Limuru Girls, this is Alliance, this is St. Mary Hill, this is... Why are you coming here? We have children.
It's true. Look,
it's good to have an issue.
But Eric, I am for the decategorization of schools. Yep. I am. Because what it does is that with the categorization, we have this problem where very few spaces that are available at a school whereby it is seen that the best of teaching and knowledge and understanding takes place here. With the decategorization, one would hope then that it would force a situation whereby excellence is now applied across board. But then this could also cannibalize itself, whereby you see that it could then be a free-for-all and, whatever happens,
if
happens.
Not
after
well
all,
managed,
school,
it'll
right?
become a big issue.
Yeah, that's the thing also.
Yeah, it becomes a very big issue. Hopefully, they will manage it well.
I pray.
Yeah.
Traders are saying... You want to ban milk imports from Uganda? You better stop it and wake up on a Tuesday. What do you mean? How can we? What? They're complaining. Traders in Central Rift and parts of Western have condemned the Kenya Dairy Board's ban of milk imports from Uganda. The traders who, until March, stocked mostly long-life milk imported from Uganda, and the impasse had affected their profits amid huge demand for Ugandan milk from their customers. Kenya was a leading buyer of Ugandan milk with imports valued at $138 million. In 2019, the value of Uganda's milk exports to Kenya was much higher, with the World Bank reports putting the value then at 721 million. That's 100 billion shillings for a total of 158 tons of the commodity. Right, so there have been constant calls from both the industry and the political leaders for the government to ban Uganda milk because it is cheaper and undercuts Kenyan products in the market. Kenya is Uganda's main milk market, but the constant barriers have prompted the search for other markets, particularly the Democratic Republic of Congo, South Sudan, Zambia, and Algeria. Processed milk counts for more than 35% of Uganda's marketed milk, according to Uganda's sector regulator, the Dairy Development Authority, DDA. Now... There's protectionism for your farmers. But protectionism, the laws of protectionism require you to actually protect your farmer. Meaning that you will make it conducive for them to grow these things or to keep cattle or whatever. That you will keep your inputs at a level that is comfortable and manageable. That That's what those laws state. Now, it should be of some concern that most traders would rather bring in an item from outside the country that you produce because the same product within the country is too expensive for them to, number one, buy. And why is it expensive? Because farmers have told us the inputs are huge in terms of cost. Feed for their dairy cows, because they don't just eat grass. Okay? Feed for your dairy cows and all of these things that you have to put into it is expensive. So that means the milk at the end of the day will be more expensive because you are buying Uganda milk for 18 shillings cheaper than what you're buying in Kenya on the lowest side. So if you're going to ban it, that means you're going to force us to buy this expensive milk. Will people buy this expensive milk, or do you want to force them to buy the expensive milk, as opposed to regulating the cost of farm inputs, agricultural inputs, so that your price of fish, your price of milk, eggs, beef, all of those things come down? So which one do you want?
I think, we are members of the East African community. One of the tenets, there are 5 things in the East Africa community. One of them is the Common Market Protocol. We are already in the Common Market Protocol. Now, I think it's very small time thinking when you start looking at those things of restricting imports from across one border to another. We complain about Samia Suluhu blocking maize from her country coming into our country, and yet we are blocking milk coming from another country to ours. Come on. If milk is being produced cheaply across the border in Uganda, let it come. If we can get the feeds done there, and when we come here and we do the feeds, let's do it.
I don't understand what the
How
problem is.
big is this? I mean, if you just compare Kenya plus Uganda, the size of Kenya plus Uganda is smaller than Tanzania. What nonsense is this? It's like saying now people from northeastern cannot bring their cows to Nairobi because the cows in Nairobi should be supplied by Ukambani and Kajiado. What nonsense is this?
It is. And if you're in a common market, there's nothing wrong with splitting roles and responsibilities if you're going to look at it like that. And we see that it is clear that Uganda's gotten something right with this dairy thing, right? Allow them to do it. There's something that Kenya can or cannot do. Allow them to do it. What's the problem?
Just maintain the quality. If you're saying that it is standardization, that you have issues with the standard, the quality of the milk that's coming, that's something to discuss, And you say this is, let's agree on a common standard across the markets, that this is the quality of milk that shall be packaged and sold in the region, whether it's in country or being exported to the next neighboring country.
And this is what the price will be.
Yeah, and now price, let markets play on price. Let them play on price. If it's being produced cheaply, and it's being packaged cheaply, and in the end, after transporting it across from Uganda into Kenya, it arrives on the Kenyan shelves and it's cheaper.
So be it.
So be it. So be it. That forces your government to look at what is it that we can do to actually help our farmers also compete.
Because what you have is then you start having some brother-to-brother economic wars, salient or otherwise, that are absolutely unnecessary, when it's something that can be figured out real quick.
Yep. And what we need coming from those, for example, those guys in Uganda are able to do cotton seed cake, they're able to do sunflower seed cake for feeds. If we can get those feeds, those raw materials for feeds, they come here, we process and produce feeds for our animals. And it's me, I don't like this thing. We are just too
rigid.
Yeah. Saying you're going to the market, you have some yams, and the other person has some yams, and you're saying, let's go and poison this guy's yams in his farm so they can. Come on. This man called engineer Japhet Koome is having issues.
Oh no, why?
The Senate Labour and Social Welfare Committee has put the National Police Service in a spot over the slow pace of investigations into an alleged job scam. More than 8,000 youths from North Rift counties lost millions of shillings in that whole issue, alleged job scam by First Choice Recruitment. Inspector General Japhet Koome, who appeared before the committee chaired by Julius Murgor of West Pokot, said investigations from the DCI are probing the matter. Koome told the committee that officers from the DCI commenced this investigation on the 14th of March. Remember, this is the whole issue of Finland
and youth from these counties of Uasin Gishu, Nandi, Elgeyo Marakwet, Bomet, Kericho, Trans Nzoia, who are supposed to be, taking up these opportunities to go and study in Finland. And the whole conversation around it was, a big confusion.
Yeah.
Whether it was a sponsorship, whether you pay once, whether and many of them have had issues. In fact, one committed suicide while in Finland the other day. Yeah. So that's a very, very, very big issue. Koome is also having issues with the commission itself, the Police Service Commission. Koome promoted some officers. Okay? Koome is like the secretary of the Police Service Commission. The Police Service Commission is in charge of HR matters in the police service. Now, this Koome man promotes officers. The National Police Service Commission chairman says, what?
Excuse me?
No. That has not been sanctioned by us. So they block that. The National Police Service Commission itself advertises those positions. Police officers who feel that they qualify for these ones advertise to get these promotions. Koome tells officers ignore that one. So now there is a standoff between the National Police Service Commission, the Office of the Inspector General of Police.
Does Engineer Koome understand his assignment? Because it is clear. It is clear that the MPSC is the one who's supposed to be hiring. Can he recommend, can he second individuals for recommendation for position? Can he do that?
You see, I think
he can't just go ahead and give letters of appointment to individuals, can he?
He cannot. You see, the previous IGs have done it. The question is, does the National Police Service Commission really understand its mandate? And has it been performing its...
Has it been doing it all this time?
Yes. That's a question to ask. Because under IG Koome, there is a Directorate of Personnel. Okay? So there's a Director of Personnel, there's a Director of Operations and such. The Directorate of Personnel at the Police Service, what does it do? And what does it have a dotted line to the NPS? Yeah. Does it have a direct line to the MPS? What do those ones do? It exposes the issues within this thing.
Yeah.
The issue of control between the National Police Service Commission, the CS for Interior, the Inspector General of Police, and all those. Who's really in charge of the police service?
Who is in charge?
That's the question. Let these things erupt.
In fact, that's why it's good that they do, because then you get an understanding of what is actually supposed to be happening.
We can see.
Yeah.
Have you felt the National Police Service Commission?
Where?
Apart from those times when they're doing the national recruitment exercise and you hear them advertising, the rest of the times, I don't hear the National Police Service Commission.
People are passing out from Kiganja.
Before they pass out from Kiganja. That recruitment. Yeah. In fact, at Kiganja, you don't hear the NPS. You only hear them during that countrywide recruitment drive.
Then after that,
they advertise, these are the locations where this will take place, and then these are the people who've been recruited. After that,
Kimya.
Watajibu maswali. Haya, we're coming to the top of the hour. This is Kenya's biggest conversation. It's the Situation Room. It's the 12th day of June, and this month ends on the 30th of June. You said it's going to be a Friday. So it'll be a Friday?
Yeah, it's a Saturday.
Are you sure? It's a Saturday.
It's a Sunday.
Can you make sure that you know the date? Kabu, open the calendar.
It's a Sunday. I'm serious.
The end of the month cometh. Make sure that you're not caught up in this. Make sure that you filed your tax returns before the 30th of June, because after the
30th of June, my mind is on, sorry, continue. The 30th is a Friday.
Uko wapi wewe?
Niko hapa na wewe. The 30th is a Friday.
Uko hapa?
Yeah.
I'm talking about that.
Got it.
For filing KRA returns.
Yes, I know.
Going to itax.kra.go.ke. Sawa? We are together.
We are together.
Good. It's 7 a.m.
Spice up your life.
Good morning, this is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. Kenya and Djibouti have endorsed the reciprocal abolishing of visa requirements for their citizens. President William Ruto, in a joint press conference with his Djibouti counterpart Ismail Gule, said that the move is aimed at fostering people-to-people interactions, trade and investment. He reiterated his administration's commitment to eliminating the barriers imposed by visa requirements for Djibouti citizens travelling to Kenya.
I've informed my brother, President Gule, that we will not only make it possible for people holding diplomatic passports and services passports to come to Kenya without the need for a visa, but I have also extended it to all the people of Djibouti, even those holding ordinary passports.
Ruto further insisted on the need for African states to speak on the global financial system that continues to disenfranchise their continent and demand for better terms.
It is difficult to avoid concluding that in terms of development financing architecture, the global system is rigged against African progress. It is our role to persistently bring to the attention of the world the importance of abandoning a fundamentally unjust global financial system and the prejudicial biases and attitudes that underpin it, not solely for Africa's sake, but to avert the collective peril of humanity.
The Parliamentary Committee on Finance has reached a consensus on all controversial clauses in the Finance Bill of 2023. The committee agreed to amend some of the controversial clauses after a 5 days retreat in Naivasha. Though they did not divulge which clauses had been amended, the committee said that all views and petitions from members of the public had been addressed.
We are going to make amendments to several clauses. We have also tied ends because there's some clauses, for example, that the definition could be prone to abuse. So there are some that's been tightening on, for example, the definition to make sure again that our tax policy becomes simple, becomes understandable, and is not subject to different interpretations. There are some instances where a rate, for example, was not expressly given. So we have, after listening to the stakeholders, we have agreed on which rates we are going to have. So we are generally in agreement, and now we are ready to table our reports come Tuesday.
The committee is expected to table its report tomorrow ahead of the budget reading by Treasury Cabinet Secretary Njoroge Ndungu. Despite the committee reaching a compromise, the political class has continued to differ over the said bill.
Unfortunately, the debate about the bill has taken a political twist, and it's really sad when I hear members of parliament saying that you have to withdraw the entire bill, members of the public saying, members of parliament saying that you're going to go on streets. You know, our colleagues from opposition and even some from our coalition should know that they can actually write to the speaker and make amendments. Amendments have been brought by members of parliament at the floor of the house, and some of them have seen the rate of death.
And the government has warned that it will not tolerate protest and destruction of property over the Finance Bill 2023, which the opposition has vehemently opposed. Speaking in Tharaka Nithi's Marimanti town, Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki said resorting to protest and causing damage to public and private property is not a conducive way to address grievances on proposed tax measures. Instead, Kindiki urged politicians to take the contest over the Finance Bill 2023 to the House and advised those who suffered defeat to seek redress in the courts.
Nataka niseme hatutakubali mwananchi wowote katika Kenya hii akijizingizia ya kwamba ako na malalamiko fulani, kuvunja sheria, kuumiza wananchi wasio na hatia, kutatiza uchukuzi wa umma, kutatiza biashara ama kutishia maisha ya watu wengine. We will not allow it. Mimi nimesikia wabunge mko na mjadala sijui wa sheria ya mambo ya kodi. Hiyo mswada, wabunge wa Kenya Kwanza, wabunge wa upinzani, mwendeni kule bunge mjadiliane, mumalizanie huko kwa bunge. Pale bunge kura ikipigwa, wenye wameshinda washinde, wenye wameshindwa wangojee siku nyingine.
And the Trade and Investments Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria has announced that hundreds of trucks that were stuck at the Namanga one-stop border and Holili border post will be granted access into the country. The over 500 trucks ferrying maize from Tanzania into Kenya were denied clearance over lack of permits. He urged Kenyan importers of Tanzanian foodstuff to apply for permits to avoid inconveniences. The CS said that the two sister countries are committed to eliminating all trade barriers in the spirit of East African cooperation. I'm Dennis Aseto. Good morning.
Spice FM, Nakuru.
All right, it's now a few minutes after 7 o'clock and traffic still very heavy on most parts of the Thika Superhighway coming into the city, hot and heavy. We'll see that at least until you get towards that Pangani underpass. It's going to take a break at the junction from Allsops, and then beyond that you'll be fine. But as you're coming in from Githurai, it's very heavy all the way through to Garden City Mall, and then just at the GSU headquarters. There's a little bit of reprieve right around Tusker Village, that junction, but it's still heavy. Thika Superhighway is one to contend with this morning. We're seeing the same thing on Kiambu Road today, and it's also happening on Limuru Road, starting as you're coming past 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th Parklands Avenue. Ring Road Westlands, very busy right now, as it is on Waiaki Way. Traffic is inching along, folks trying to get into the city this morning. Where are you this morning? Let us know. Spice FM KE on Twitter. We keep things moving as we go along Monday.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latin, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
How are you doing? Welcome to The Situation Room. If you're just joining us from across the globe, Karibu Sana. We are live streaming the show on YouTube and Facebook. We are live on Spice FM across the country. And now we are also live on KTN Home. This is Monday, the 12th day of June 2023. And 2023 is a big year for Sarit Center because they're commemorating 40 years.
Exactly. It's 4 decades of fantastic experiences and shopping at Sarit, your city. And this month, Sarit says, yay, we are 40. Come on down to Sarit Center every day between 1 and 2 p.m. Spend 2,040 shillings. And you could then take your receipt and get in line to spin the magic wheel. You never know what it's going to land on. A cruise, a car, fantastic vouchers to dine and gym and all sorts of other fantastic stuff happening at Sarit, your city. Do that between 1 and 2 p.m. And also here at Spice FM, we're going to help Sarit celebrate. Tell us what it is that you would spend 2,040 shillings on, and you could win a hamper. Talk to us on our socials, Spice FM KE on YouTube and Facebook. Sarit, your city is 40.
Kabisa. We have a guest who joined us in the studio now, Dr. Dennis Wamalwa. He's a commissioner with the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights. It's always important to say it in full so people can get to distinguish between that and the Kenya Human Rights Commission.
True.
The Kenya National Commission on Human Rights is established by the Constitution. It's a constitutional commission. It's funded by taxpayers, and it has a huge mandate. Dr. Wamalwa, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Eric.
Welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation.
Good morning.
Yeah.
That's the hot seat of the Situation Room. Normally the hot seat is on this other side because CT Muga sits there. But today, we've given you the elevated position of the Mzee wa Boma.
Thank you very much. I'm humbled.
Sit on that side.
Asante.
Dr. Wamalwa is a commissioner with the KNCHR, and he's also the first intersex person to hold a public office in the Republic of Kenya, in the continent of Africa, and in this small thing called Earth.
Sure.
Yeah. So you're here to talk to us about the intersex bill that's been
drafted by the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, and a lot of public awareness is needed on this. But before you do that, let me give you the day's proverb. So every day we have a proverb from an African country, and this week's proverbs are from the country of Zambia. Now the proverb says, jump over a log, but not over your neighbor's word. Jump over a log, but not over your neighbor's words. What do you make of that, Dr. Amalo? Jump over a log, but do not jump over a neighbor's words.
Eric, I think in my opinion, what this simply means is that your neighbors, whatever, I mean, you really have to value your neighbor, regardless of whatever status they are in the society, because the log is just, you know, it will come, go, but your neighbor will always remain with you.
Indeed.
Sure.
So respect the neighbor. Hold them dear. Sure. Okay. It's a good interpretation. Now let's get into it. In 2019,
sure,
when these enumerators were sent across the country by the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics,
yes,
and they came to our homes at night,
yes,
and they were asking our gender. This time there was a different word that they were using. Male, female, or intersex.
Yes.
And even thereafter, when they released the statistics, then they told us there are more than 1,500 persons of intersex gender in the country. People are like, what does that mean? So what is intersex?
Thank you, Eric. I just want also to correct something before I respond to your question. You just mentioned that there was intersex gender. I want to clarify that there's nothing called intersex gender.
What is it?
It's called intersex marker.
Marker.
Gender is a social construction. A girl should be in the kitchen, a man should be herding. But sex is a biological characteristic of the anatomy, of the hormones, of the gonads, and of, let's say, chromosomes. Yeah, so I think we have to start from there. Then back to your question. You're asking what is intersex?
Yes.
Eric and my friend here, I really want to simplify this as much as possible in the slowest manner possible, because it's now the big elephant in the house. Intersex, Eric and Duo, is a biological sex characteristics that is not categorized in the common binary of male or female. That means it's in between, and it's in terms of 4 items. One, in terms of the anatomy. When a mother goes to the hospital and they're expecting, after that pain, you want to see the child, the first question they ask is it a boy or a girl? Then a doctor or a midwife looks at you with mixed reactions, because they cannot tell from what they see. It's neither a vagina, it's neither a penis. But remember, this condition is inherent, it's inborn. In terms of chromosomes, if you remember your biology, a man has 46 XY, while a woman should be having 46 XX. For these children, because of the mixed, kind of the mixed sexual characteristics, you'll find that an intersex child is born with either an extra or a lesser. For example, I was born with 47 XXY. So biologically speaking, I leaned more towards
female. So you're born with 47 XXY.
Meaning I had an extra
chromosome.
X.
Because normally you'd be 46 XX or 46 XY.
Yes. In terms of the gonads, women have ovaries, men have testicles. An intersex child will be born with either ovotestis, an ovary, and a testicle. Like in my case, I had an ovary on the left, a testicle on the right. But they were suspended. So for 9 years before I was taken to Kenyatta National Hospital to start the journey, it was too late. They were palatine.
What do you mean
What does that
suspended?
mean?
Descended means they were above the crotch.
Mhm.
Testicles are supposed to be hanging.
Yes.
The ovaries are supposed to be in.
Yes.
And because of that condition, it means already it was too late and they were becoming tumorous. That's when I go to Kenyatta, they were supposed to be removed.
Mhm.
And in any case, I did not have the uterus. That is the mixed sexual characteristics.
So you have an ovary,
Uh-huh.
you don't have a uterus.
Yes. And then there was a testicle.
And then there's the testicle on the other side.
Yes, then there's a penis.
Okay.
Then
continue.
Then
Four.
in terms of hormones, the fourth one is hormonal aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Men have testosterone. You have a deep voice because your level of testosterone is higher than Dua, for example, who has a high level of estrogen. So in terms of intersex persons or children, they'll be born with hormonal imbalance.
Okay.
Like you see, for me now, I had more of estrogen, so I had to be put on testosterone, which I'm using to date. So this is the simplest way to tell people that this is an inherent condition. It's a biological condition. It has no control. You cannot change sex because of the genetics. Yes.
Okay. So essentially, what does it mean then for an intersex person? Because it could be on either side, right? Okay. So what does it then mean for an intersex person born that way? Obviously, depending on which side one is leaning, then, or how would then one choose which gender then to want to go towards? Because at birth, it is almost impossible to identify which one specifically they are because of the physiological presentation. So then how does one decide which leaning you will take?
Still want to repeat, I'm really discouraging the use of gender.
Okay.
Which sex?
Sex, all right.
Yeah.
So which sex then?
One, like I said, when a child is still young, it's very difficult to tell whether, depending on what is the presentation. But in intersex conditions, you'll see that it comes out mostly during the adolescent stage. That is the time when the body now really kind of takes its own, direction. But in terms of what time, then we're telling people that these such like children should be taken to the hospital, should be, access to the medical examinations to tell for sure at what point. Because like for me, you see, when I went to hospital, it was too late at the age of 9. But again, we're also telling people that don't make a decision for these children. Let parents not make a decision for the children or even doctors unless the condition is actually, the child's life is at risk. But during the adolescence, that's the time now the body starts taking. I know people confused. They say an intersex person has both. Both what? No, it's normally mostly it's internal. It's all around the genitals. And there's no one point an intersex person will have both organs working. It to have there's some dominance. So when you're taken to the doctor, depending on what really needs to be kind of which is your dominance, then that is it. But the challenge we're having right now is that most of the intersex persons, I don't know why, it's actually research to be done, why 90% of intersex persons I've interacted with, initially they were socialized as girls. Then later on, 70% are turning out to self-recognize as men as they grow up.
Okay. So their parents initially basically categorized them as girls and treated them as girls as they were bringing
and they
them
went
up.
to schools as girls up to high school. Right now we're having cases where one of my colleagues went up to high school as a girl, then to university. Now it's James Karanja. India was Mary Karanja, someone. So you see,
I want to go back into now understanding these 4 areas that you've given us because they're critical.
Yeah.
2 of them are more physical and visual than the others: the anatomy and the gonads.
Yes.
At the point when a mother is going through the antenatal visits and they're doing the scans, is a doctor able to tell what's happening? Because you see, that's where you start telling, all right, so you can actually even tell that you're carrying a boy or you're carrying a girl. At that point during antenatal visits, can a doctor tell that I am not sure what I'm seeing?
Now, and Eric, remember, like during my time, rarely, were this kind of, experiments,
access to such services.
Access to such services.
Yes.
And surprisingly, most of intersex persons are even, poverty, it's the order of the day. I've never understood why. So right now that probably we're talking about this and we're sensitizing the medical practitioners, they should be able. Unfortunately, I'm not a medical practitioner, so I cannot really tell whether at what point they can see whether this child is or not.
Okay. And then at that point of birth then, so just like you said, a mother has gone through labor, she's been delivered of the baby, and the nurse is holding the baby.
Yes.
And you say the nurse then looks and cannot answer because the first question is it a boy or a girl?
Yeah.
And then they cannot answer. So what normally is happening at that point?
At that point, what normally is happening is there's confusion between an enlarged clitoris and a mini penis.
Okay.
There's that opening between the crotch normally, where they're supposed to be testicles. You'll find that they're not testicles, but they're just, there's a hanging skin with like a small opening down there. So a nurse or doctor looks at this and wonders, is this a penis or is it a clitoris?
Okay.
Is this opening? And most of the time you say that urine is not coming through here, it's coming through down
coming
here.
from the
That is
lower.
what brings the confusion. Because there are no testicles, there's a small penis or an enlarged clitoris, and so it brings a lot of confusion.
Okay.
Yeah, because like I said, normally the testicles will be and descend inside.
Right. You did say then, as they then get later on in life, that there will be a dominance of one of the sexes. How does that then present itself? The later on then, how does this dominance present itself?
I'll give an example. If a person was socialized as a girl, and most of the cases we're having right now, one was socialized as a girl, you get to the age of 12, 13, then the voice breaks.
Yeah.
Then you start developing masculinity, the muscles starts developing. Yeah?
Yep.
And vice versa. A boy was socialized as a boy, but then as they grow up, by there I have, Eric, you'll be surprised, I have quite a number of my colleagues who went through school as boys. Then, after high school, they go to college. I have a guy who went to a medical college. Then they start seeing periods. So then it confuses. Meaning, this person was born with an ovary, but they did not know because they have never accessed medical examination or checkup.
Yeah.
So as the body responds naturally, then periods starts coming out. That's how the body presents.
But in such cases, Dr. Amalwa, is it that this person, as they were growing up, even their parents did not see those clear visual differences in their genitalia?
They could have seen Eric, but now, culturally, this has been looked up as a bad omen.
Okay. So they don't talk about it.
They don't talk about it.
And so this girl believes that this is how she should be.
This is how she should.
Okay. Or the boy believes that this is how he should be. And then now they start getting the monthly period and they get into total confusion.
Total confusion.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Okay. So then even as we're talking about that, then the stigma around intersex people must be very, very high and almost impenetrable. Because if we just think about, when parents have children with who are born with disability, for example, already the kind of stigma that faces society is humongous. Now we can imagine something like this, whereby a child has been born and because of the presentation, you're not sure if it's a girl or boy. I can imagine that then the stigma would be, monumental.
It is. And let me tell you, that's one of the reasons, the issues of stigma, discrimination, rejection, breaking of families. Most of intersex persons are from single parenthood because mothers were, kind of disbanded by, were kind of rejected by, or even the families, the communities. There's this aspect of no one should know that in this family, or no one should ever see this child naked.
Yeah.
So stigma starts from the moment a child is born, right from even either the hospital level, and then through school. Why most intersex persons drop out of school? Because, like I said, because of that anatomy. If it was not corrected, then imagine you are a boy, you're supposed to stand as you pass urine.
Yep.
But now you cannot use this kind of a facility.
You never go to the urinals with the other boys.
Yes. And then in school, you have to wake up very early in the morning, go shower before. Some of us went to, at least I went to a religious school where, it was a bit private. But most people, drop out of school because of that. And then I know of friends, even children, who were kind of ridiculed, bullied in schools. And, such like things. So stigma is enormous and it cuts across. all the way from the policy, legal, institutional, and administrative, entities. And this way we're saying we really have to make sure that people understand. And by the way, Eric and my friend, intersex persons are all over. Look at the statistics. And they are brothers and sisters. They are people. So, yeah, we need to understand.
What are the statistics? If we're looking at population and then do a comparative, how many are we looking at?
From the research that was done, globally, between 0.05 to 1.7 of the entire population, children are born intersex. If we have to go by this kind of figures, then looking at the Kenyan population of 46 plus million, then it means in Kenya we have between 300,000 to 700,000 intersex persons. Myself was never even counted because even the officers who went asking, never asked. And that's why...
So they didn't ask you?
No, I was never asked. Because
they just looked at you and they...
yes, and ticked.
Because this was happening a lot. So someone just comes and then they're wondering, how do I ask this question of this other person? Because usually, how do you ask? Are you male or female?
How do you can't?
Nonsense. Can't you just look at me and see?
And intersex persons were recorded across all the counties for information. And through all the ages, up to 90. So we've had intersex persons.
We've had them for long.
A question that might seem a bit absurd. Is it seen as something wrong? And I am not talking about right or wrong morally. I'm talking about wrong physiologically that then needs to be fixed. An intersex person at birth, an intersex person with their parents, is it something that then says, okay, well, here we are we going to wait until 10, 12 to seek medical intervention? Is that always front and center in the minds of parents or families?
I think this comes with what we deem as normal and abnormal. It's a condition that is not so used to people's minds. Even imagine yourself as a parent, you're seeing such a child. So one, it throws into confusion.
Yeah.
It throws you into fear. You're not really ready even to talk about it because it's not normal, what they consider not normal. So I think, and that's why we're saying with awareness, surprisingly, I think some people are coming out. Since I got this position and we're in the field, people are coming out and not talking about it because now we're educating them. Yeah, so it's just a matter of what is not normal and what's normal always will cause some fear in people's minds. And so to seek for support becomes a challenge unless they get, to be guided.
A lot of this then will come from the people who know or should know, helping the people who don't know. All right. So let's go into that position, into that place in the maternity ward. And the mother has been delivered of the baby, and here is a medical professional, nurse, doctor, whoever. What should they do at this particular point when they're holding the child and they notice that this is probably an intersex child? What should that medical professional do?
In my opinion, I think the first thing they should do is to have the mother taken through some social support, some guide, some counseling, some information. They have to be explained, but it also depends at what time. So in my opinion, they should be able to explain to the mother that, of course, we were having a child, but we think you need some rest. We need to do some examination, for example, or we need to take this child for further, medical examination, though not at the birth. But in my opinion, the first thing I think a professional should do is to take the mother for counseling, for information, for empowerment, to understand what kind of a child, if they have to live that also, they are living with, and to explain to them at what point they need to come back to the medical practitioner, for example, for follow-up. Yes.
But you see, this is a very public place. So a child has been born. The first thing that they do is they tag a child. They tag a child with the name of the mother and the gender. All right? And then the child is then taken to the nursery. So others are seeing. How do we, protect the privacy of these people until at least the point when the mother, the father, and other close relatives have been taken through that process?
So then the medical practitioner should find a safe space for this kind of a mother. A safe space, Eric, you don't have to have all the curtains or such like a room. Let him just get some curtain, for example, get some a separate room for this child, You know, we can always within the medical facility find something, you know, work around something. Yeah. For me, safe space is more important. Yes.
Okay. What are some of the things you had to deal with then? I mean, usually, Prof, it's your experience then that then fuels what then people can come together with and maybe sometimes form, you know, principles to live by. What was your experience from what you can remember from the time, you know, you were a young child to that point whereby you said you had to go to hospital, and for us to also understand then what intersex people go through, what they go through. What was your experience from the time you were a young child to having to go to hospital?
One, I think when I was about 4 years or something, I noticed something was not right. My father always would want to accompany me when I go to kind of pee. He would always force me, say, you know what you do? You hold it like this because my urine used to go backwards. So my father always used to tell me, no, what you do? You stand like this, but it was not possible. So I knew something was not right. At the age of 6, 7, when playing, you know, herding with friends, we used to go swimming. I could see something was not right because my penis was held by something was facing backwards. Swimming, so until most of the time I used to be told, don't be seen naked. I don't know. Where I come from, we circumcised. And I'm told I was a very active young person. Between 9, 10, 11, 12. So at the age of 9, my father realized this one, I can go kwa maji hivi. You must. So if I was to go the traditional way, then there will be a problem when I get to, because now they do it traditionally, no medical intervention, something. So I was hooked from home by my elder brother. May his soul rest in peace. But so then where I come from, you know, we go to fetch water, and for me, I was doing almost everything. Every time we could go for fetch water, then the neighbors during the childhood, mamas were like, "Hey, this is a beautiful boy. He should have been born a girl." I mean, this is a beautiful boy. I mean, this is a wonderful boy. He should have been born a girl. Then as I was growing up, of course, now from the age of 9, I started operations. Surprising some of the challenges I went through, even with the medical practitioner. I was like being taken to a mechanic, like a car being taken to a mechanic. I was never told why I was having surgery after surgery.
So nobody was explaining.
Nobody was explaining, because I think at that time maybe they thought, the doctors and my brother thought they were protecting because they thought I was young, I could not understand. But surprisingly, at one point in time, I overheard them discuss, because I could be kicked out of the medical room for them to discuss. So I had them tell my brother, this one, it would be easier for him to be converted into a girl than a man. My father said no. I told my brother, you know what? 4th floor. To date, by the way, you go to Kenya National Hospital. Kenyatta, yeah. 4th floor, 12. I think that's where most of these intersex persons are. That was 4th floor. I told my brother, you try that, I'm jumping next day. And he said no. So you see, that confusion, lack of disclosure. Yeah. And probably, you know, my brother was like, I came with a child at 9 years home. He's supposed to be circumcised. How do I go back with Elizabeth? From Dennis. He said no. So then the journey. So the doctors told him, if that be ready. It's not going to be easy. To date, Eric, I've undergone major. I only count major. By the way, I forgot I have a book there. I've done a book. 39 major operations. Major means I've been in theater for more than 2 hours to 12 hours. This 1 hour, I
39 times.
Yes.
To be what I am today. Age of 9
yes.
to
And
now
those,
where you are.
Yes, and those are only major ones.
And in the meantime, you've gone through school, you've gone through your undergrad, you've gone through your master's, you have a PhD.
I'm telling you.
And you have worked in the areas that you've worked.
That was my only solace. Books. That was my only solace.
Let's continue that journey shortly. Let's first take a break. It's 26 minutes to 8. Do you understand what an intersex person is? Do you know what that is? Well, that's what we are discussing this morning. We have the first person to hold a public office in Kenya and in the world as an intersex person. He is Commissioner Dr. Dennis Wamalwa, a commissioner with the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights. The commission has drafted a bill. It's called the Intersex Persons Bill 2024. And that's what we're discussing today. First, to understand what intersex is all about, and then to understand what the bill is seeking to achieve. As we take this break, we remind you about the app called 911 Group App. Go to your Apple's Play Store or Google. the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. Look for that app, 911 Group app. It's an app that you need because it helps you to have sort of an emergency button wherever you are. If you are somewhere and you're stuck, let's say your vehicle's broken down or you just need some sort of emergency assistance or evacuation, open the app, press the button, and they can see your location from the 911 call center. They dispatch a team to come to your rescue immediately.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
When the engine revs, will you be ready to get all that petrolhead enthusiasm at this year's annual Digger Motor Show? Well, you better belt up and make your way to KICC from the 20th to the 23rd of July 2023 for a wholesome 4-day event. Come and join car lovers, bike enthusiasts, spare part dealers, insurance as well as asset financiers, and more for what will be an unforgettable experience by far. We are going all out to make it a great show for you and the whole family with something for everyone. So, you better not miss out. For more information or participation, contact Caroline on 0723-803601 or email cnyandiaka@standardmedia.co.ke. Digger Motor Show 2023 is brought to you by Standard Group and Digger Motors and is powered by Spice FM. It's that time again when we get to gather around and marvel at the great engineering, raw power, finesse, and share in our round motor love for motoring at the annual Digger Motor Show 2023. From car lovers, bike enthusiasts, spare part dealers, insurance, as well as asset financiers and more, this year's Digger Motor Show will be one for the books. We're talking a whole 4-day event from Thursday 20th to Sunday 23rd at KICC Grounds, Nairobi, where we will have something for everyone, so you better not miss out. Get the family, bring your friends, and share in the joys that will give you lasting memories and an experience you're bound to not forget. For more information or participation, contact Caroline on 0723-803601 or email cnyandiaka@standardmedia.co.ke. Digger Motor Show 2023 is brought to you by Standard Group and Digger Motors and is powered by Spice FM.
Bro, the game is about to start. Let's go. But just give me a minute, man. Malize.
What's up? Who are you chatting with?
I'm just filing my returns, then we bounce. Because I hope you remember the deadline is June 30th. The game will start, banner. Where? It doesn't take time. And yep, I'm done.
That was fast. Wait. Show me how you've done yours, because I don't want to pay any penalty.
Just log into itax.kra.go.ke and file your returns. And if you don't know how to, just go to KRA's YouTube page and watch a tutorial. It's that easy.
Allah, filing returns is easier than cooking.
Easy peasy, say.
Kenya Revenue Authority reminds all PIN holders to file their 2022 tax returns on or before 30th of June 2023. For assistance, call 0711-099-999 or email callcenter@kra.go.ke. You can also visit any of the KRA service centers or any Huduma center countrywide.
In Nairobi, highs of 25, and we'll see highs of 24 in cloudy Nakuru at 16. It's 15 and cloudy in Nyeri, highs of 24 today, and we'll see highs of 23 in a sunny Eldoret at 13. It's 23 and mostly sunny in Mombasa, highs of 29, and we'll see highs of 30 in Malindi, where it's sunny at 25. It's 19 and sunny in Kisumu, highs of 27, and 16 and sunny in Kakamega, highs of 27 as well. 18 and sunny in Kampala, highs of 27, and Dar es Salaam is sunny at 23, highs of 30 and lows of 22. 10 degrees and partly sunny in Johannesburg, highs of 18, and it's clear at 25 in Lagos, highs of 30, and 23 and partly cloudy in Kinshasa, going to highs of 30.
Are you ready? Okay.
Spice FM.
Okay, going towards 8 o'clock, slowly but surely. We're getting into the thick of things as concerns traffic hour this morning. Still heavy on the Thika Superhighway. Use the service lanes, it's going to help. As you get past that Allsops junction, it'll get heavier going towards the CBD. Not too bad on Kiambu Road, just at DCI is where we're seeing the traffic this morning. It's heavy though, and it's bumper to bumper. It's moving in some parts and slows down in others. On Oloitoktok Road, we're looking at James Gishuru as well, coming in and touching on Waiaki Way. Traffic continues there. Gong Road, as you're coming in from the junction from Naivasha Road, touching on the junction, it's heavy going into the city. So let's keep an eye on things. It's Monday morning. It's normal. We don't see anything crazily out of whack. But just in case it gets just so, talk to us on Spice FM, KE on Twitter.
Spice FM, Nakuru. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right.
20 minutes to the top of the hour.
94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
The first intersex person to hold a state office anywhere in the world. He is a commissioner with the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights. He's here to talk to us through the intersex persons bill that's been drafted by the commission. Dr. Wamalwa holds a PhD in Peace and Conflict Studies from Masinda Muliro University of Science and Technology and a Masters of Arts in Counselling Studies from the University of Manchester in the UK. He has worked for many years in very many organizations before joining the commission. He has also, worked with students as well. You have supervised several master's students.
And published.
And published also in various journals. Good stuff. You are taking us through your journey.
Yeah.
Born in this state of confusion for you and for your parents, for everybody around you, until that age when, at the age of 9, when
I was taken to hospital.
Your father and your elder brother came together and they took you to hospital.
Yeah.
And you now started this journey.
Sure.
Since then, you've had how many operations again?
The ones I can remember, like I said, I've only been counting major ones, 39.
And 39 major operations.
Yes.
To do what exactly?
To do what we're calling normalization, and which, of course, when we talk of the bill, this is something that's also very debatable. Do we really need to subject intersex persons to all this, for example? Because most of the time, interestingly, an intersex, it's a condition. It's never painful. Okay, in my experience, we have over 46 variations of intersex persons. So at times they say, if it ain't broken,
don't fix it.
We can only fix if it's really threatening one's life. Because probably if we went by the doctor's decision, probably maybe I'll have gone through lesser operations. But I don't regret. As at that time, they were doing the best.
It's the best that they thought that they...
Yes, in my interest as at that time. And I'm happy.
Because what we're trying to do is move you into one of the sexes.
Exactly.
Make you either male or female.
Yeah. This one they're trying to make me male.
And what you're saying now is you don't have to do this.
Unless it's really threatening. And this is what we're telling medical practitioners. Because, Eric, remember, I know of people who hurriedly, their mothers or parents, took them to hospital, and what they perceived to be a small penis or clitoris was chopped off. Then later on, as they grow, you realize that now the body leans towards that direction and they need it. And remember, these surgical operations are irreversible.
Yeah.
You chop off something, Eric.
This is it.
That is it. And this is why we're saying, probably, one, legally, I'm not a lawyer, but legally we're saying, can we give it time? If it's not something paining, if not threatening a person's life, can we give it time until the time now when the body starts responding and the person now, at the age of 14, 13, 15, 16, I think one will be able to know this is exactly what I want. Then they can make a decision that, okay, you want to change? Let me go this direction.
Okay. I have a two-part question, right? And the first part is based on what you've just said, that really this does not affect your life in any way, does not cause you pain. The kind of pain that it would cause you is the psychological, and that is only in the event that somebody knew. When you were growing up, of course, when then, amongst other children, that is it. But in terms of anything else, you really don't feel it. You don't feel pain. There's no harm to you in any way, right? Yeah. It is now a psychological thing later that you can decide, okay, maybe I want to move in this way or another.
Sure.
Am I right?
Yeah, you're right. It's psychological because until the time you see, when I was a teenager, and then my body now, was very curvy. But then, initially I used to look like, wow, wonderful. I should show you photos after this.
You were a girl.
You were
Yeah. You're
so
a cute girl. Even your neighbors were saying.
Yes. Every time, I'll show you. Every time I'll get in a matatu, I used to fight with touts. Madam, lete, psychological. So, what is he seeing in me? I know I'm a man. Why is he calling me madam? Madam.
That's what he can see. Yeah.
I had to go for karate, Eric, for self-protection. Until one time, my brother Tom, a Christian brother, who is a psychologist I met at Amani, asked me for the photos of my brother, my mom and my sisters. So I gave my mother's photo. So he said, why are you fighting the world for looking like your mother? That's the time I stopped. Then now, he started taking me through counseling. Actually, I am because he's my mentor. He's still around, yeah.
Now, of all the things that you've said, in the next question then is, why then in the LGBTQI is intersex? Why is the I intersex, and why has intersex been put together with these other groups?
Duo, that is a $1 million question. What I want to say is, it's actually the question also been asking ourselves. We've been asking ourselves. I think probably for lack of understanding that I have the authority. I have no moral authority to discuss LGBTQ because I have no authority over the same. But I speak for I because I is a medical condition. It's not a choice. It's not about gender. So I've never understood why, and that's why we're saying probably it's highest time we get to understand this, because most of intersex persons have been marginalized within the same spectrum. Because one, they're not empowered enough, unlike these other groups. No? And two, when we put I in this kind of spectrum, then it's going to cause more confusion. They're likely even to slight also because they don't understand. So for me, it's a biological condition. It's not a choice. It's not something you can change. And so they need support. And they need to be protected in all ways. But like I said, we protect everybody's
rights.
Right.
Dr. Amalo, I've got to ask you this question. So you've taught us through and taken us through what intersex is. How do you distinguish between the term intersex and hermaphrodite?
Hermaphrodite was a term that was used then, which is very derogative.
It's a derogative term.
It's a derogative term. It might mean the same, but you see, it violates the dignity of intersex persons. That's why right now we're using intersex persons instead of hermaphrodites. But that is very derogative. Hermaphrodites is used for animals. We're not hyenas. That is the basis on which we're saying is now intersex, not hermaphrodite, because of the dignity of the persons we're talking about.
Okay. So what does the bill that has been drafted, what does the bill then seek to do or seek to establish in Kenya?
Thank you. And I'll be very brief on that. It's just one objective. The bill, one, seeks to recognize, protect, and safeguard the intersex persons' human rights in Kenya in terms of giving equal opportunities. Go to Public Service Commission. We're saying intersex persons are not disabled. They can work. Let them given chances. In terms of affirmative action, during the last elections, I'm proud to say that through the Commission, Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, and ICJ, International Commission of Jurists, we had what we call affirmative action, and ICJ supported us to recruit over 23 intersex persons. In the commission, we had like 3-4 who were dispatched across the country to monitor and observe elections. That was a step. And believe you me, since then, people are coming out. So if they can and they delivered, then why not? The bill is saying, let's have non-discriminative kind of actions against the intersex person. Why should they be discriminated? I have, like the other day during the public participation in Kakamega, Vihiga actually, there's a colleague called Fanis. She's an intersex. She has done IECD, got all the, which number, this the TSA number, but she had never been employed. I took her to the governor, we made the CS, we just took a call and said, oh, okay, that is the marginalization you're saying. But you see, because of lack of awareness, because we reached out, this lady in the next 2 weeks, she should be having permanent employment.
But how could I discriminate against you, though, if I look at you and I would not be able to tell?
Yep.
How would I discriminate against you until you, Prof, would tell us that you're intersex? It is impossible for me to know. I would not treat you one way or another.
You're not 100% sure. I'll give you an example.
How would I discriminate? But we're saying that there's discrimination against intersex people. But we're also saying that by merely looking at somebody, you cannot tell.
Let me give you an
if this person is intersex. So then how can I discriminate?
Let me tell you how you can.
Yeah.
I have a colleague at the commission. She's called Gloria. When you look at Gloria, comes before you, you'll see a man. She's gone for recruitment, police recruitment. So when she stands here and says, wewe, ingine. Akienda kwambia wewe, enda huko. Social amenities. We've come to her rescue several times for impersonation. She's going to pick a document at Easy Coach. She produces the ID because she took it some times back with some hair, young, beautiful girl. Now, pimpy and then, deep voice. Several times she calls, we have to go to the rescue. So this is how people can be discriminated. By saying.
I can also see systemic discrimination, just like you've said, because then that person cannot go to a male's washroom.
Exactly.
So this person is basically forced to go to a female's washroom, and yet they're not.
And even from the female, you'll be kicked out because you're in between.
You're in between. There are people who are in there who would look at you.
Yeah.
So we basically need to have those 3 doors.
I've had people who have
There's a male door, a female door, and have an intersex door. The same way we have also one for disabilities.
Exactly.
Have a similar kind of facility.
Exactly.
Right. But for jobs, say the Public Service Commission, the National Police Service Commission, the Kenya Defence Forces, and those others that do these massive recruitment drives, how does discrimination present itself?
Sorry?
How are you discriminated? How are intersex persons discriminated? Because you appear there, yes, you sign in your gender, you say male, female. If not for the ones that are physical, like the police and the KDF, say they are PS positions, when you applied for the commission job.
Okay, let me just give you an example of, let's say, this kind of, not commission, public commission, in terms of services, how one can be discriminated. Let's go to sports. Most of intersex persons, there's some energy, There's a lady who was very good, in football. So one time they were playing, then when she called Mercy, when she just kicked, pop, everybody was like, no.
Yeah, that's not a girl's kick.
She was, that's not a girl's kick. She was pulled aside and stripped.
We have to
She
check.
stopped playing ever.
Yeah.
You see, these are some of the discrimination. And we're saying the CS of sports has to pick it up and make sure that we have equal opportunities. Because if so, unfortunately, we don't have enough numbers. Say now we have to play, only intersex. And we're saying we want to mainstream intersex persons in all policy, administrative,
So practically, how would you like the CS for sports to implement this? Say that if a child says that they want to play and compete as male, they should be allowed to compete as
Exactly, yeah. We have the law. He should make sure we have the law.
No questions asked.
No questions asked. Why would you ask? Yes.
To avoid mischief, Dr. Amado.
What kind of mischief? The fact that I have enough, energy in my leg to score against you. What kind of mischief is that?
Well, maybe a boy wants to compete in a girls' game just so they can have a leg up.
Why would a boy compete in a girls' game? And that's why,
to have a leg up, to have the opportunity to win.
No. And you see, we don't just go to have this kind of act enacted, but also we have to have some kind of. We're now talking about the medical records for intersex person, for example. You'll have to have a medical record to show that, of course, you need more this. So that will now shield you from going to play with girls when you are more of men.
Okay. Taking us now actually back to at that point in hospital and the registration of persons. How should that be conducted?
Right now, what we are saying, thanks God, during the census now we have the I, and actually, we're working with all the institutions. Right now with KCD, we're having we're working towards having the I. DCI, we have already the I. We're working with all the institutions to make sure that they are including the I. So right now, what we're saying, and this is what the bill is suggesting, that a child has a right to be registered as an intersex and not others. Because already we are recognized in the country. This is the kind of awareness that's going across even the medical setup, even from...
But you said, let's avoid assigning sex and gender for a child until that point when
they're discovering
themselves.
You got me wrong. We're saying at birth, if the medical practitioner is not so sure whether male or female, right now we have a provision, and that's what we're working for. Then let them either put an I, not a question mark, or a note that this child is neither this or this until it's officially in documentation, because it's something, it's work in progress. We have these documents fully kind of put in place.
So in your birth certificate, you will have that. You'll either have the I or a note from the doctor. Right?
For now, until this bill goes through and all the documentation is now fully. But remember, in the census, there's an I. So right now, all the doctors know that if a child is born and then so sure, it's an I.
You put I.
We put I instead of others or question mark.
Okay. And this should also happen now in school. When you go to school and the first thing that you're doing is registering for NEMIS, there should be an I in NEMIS.
In NEMIS, there should be an I. That
this person, we know that we have X number of boys, X number of girls, and X number of intersex sitting for the grade 6 exams and all.
And through affirmative action, we have schools already who have actually adopted this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what do we do about those single gender schools? They're girls' schools, they're boys' schools. Should we have intersex schools?
No. If we say we're going to have separate intersex schools, then we're going to be part of the team that's discriminating, this kind of gender. What we're saying is that we want to mainstream. That's why we're going to schools. That's why we're coming to media. That's why you people are educating, the society, that intersex is part of the society, and let them just be within the schools. What we are now asking is, in terms of facilities, like we have some schools, Eric, who have accepted, intersex children to use the staff toilets because they cannot use the common toilet for fear of discrimination. That is the support we need. Okay. So what we're saying is, we want to mainstream intersex persons in our society without any discrimination. We cannot have schools separately for this because it's not a disability.
I see an issue though. Let me explain. Like you've said, so if a child goes to a girls' school and they're intersex, another one goes to a boys' school and they're intersex, you want still within that school there to be facilities for them. You want a girls' school to have an intersex bathroom, an intersex toilet, and that this child has come into a girls' school. You want the same. In a boys' school, there should be an intersex toilet. Is that not discrimination?
No, let me contextualize this. When it comes to people living with disability, the toilet, for example, do we have male or female?
No, you just have a disability.
We just have a disability. When we go to functions right now, we're using these portable. Do we have male or female in functions? We don't. This is what we're saying. That in schools, let's go back to our homes. In our homes, Eric, do you have a toilet saying female, male? This is what we are saying.
Okay.
Thank you.
How many people that are intersex are pushing along the battle lines with you for this bill in Kenya?
Wow. I'm getting a lot, enormous kind of support. Right now, it's hardly 1 year. Right now we have over 100. I actually have a list of adult, meaning, let's say from 18, we have people who have now come out and they're pushing for this. And we have groups. We have Intersex Person Society of Kenya. IPSK. Intersex Person
Society of Kenya.
Society of Kenya. James, the director, and Ryan, they're really pushing. We have Komboka, who just, via the other day. And next time, I want to be sure he gets the seat. He was number 2. Yeah, with Jinze Yangu, they're pushing. We have quite a number across the country. And through this bill and through the public participation, every year we're celebrating now in every October we're celebrating International Intersex Persons Bill. And for information, people are coming. The other day I had a delegation from Ghana. They're coming to benchmark from us because the best practice.
Are we going to be the first country in Africa who
we are? We are already.
We are the first country in Africa.
In Africa
to have this kind of bill.
Not in terms of this bill, yeah. I think so because inclusion of intersex persons in census. In the continent, we're the first one. In the world, to include in the census, we're the second after Australia.
Very good.
Yeah. So, as a government, we're doing well.
We're trailblazing. Absolutely. Dr. Wamalwa, thank you very much for coming. Thank you for coming to educate us about this and for creating the awareness about the intersex bill. Yes, when it goes to Parliament, we'll still follow through.
Yeah, sure.
And see that the conversation continues.
Thank you.
Dr. Dennis Wamalwa is the first intersex person to hold a state office in Kenya, in Africa, and the world. He is a commissioner with the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights. The commission has drafted the intersex persons bill, which will follow through and see how far it goes through Parliament. Good morning. It's 8 a.m.
Nairobi City County Governor Johnson Sakaja has promised to assist the rebuilding of improved stores in Toy Market following an inferno Saturday night that destroyed properties worth millions of shillings. Speaking when he visited the market on Sunday evening, he assured the traders the county would assist to rebuild the market and would personally distribute iron sheets and food to support them. Sakaja promised to rebuild improved spacious stores at the market to reduce the spread of fire in case such related tragedies occur. And Trade and Investments Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria has announced that hundreds of trucks that were stuck at the Namanga one-stop border and at Holili border post will be granted access into the country. The over 500 trucks ferrying maize from Tanzania into Kenya were denied clearance over lack of permits. He urged Kenyan importers of Tanzanian foodstuffs to apply for permits to avoid inconveniences. Kuria said the two sister countries are committed to eliminating all trade barriers in the spirit of East African cooperation. Meanwhile, here are the drivers who remain stranded at the border.
Kule kwetu hakuna shida yoyote, tumevushwa vizuri, tumekuja kwenye boda ya Kenya, tumekaa pale zaidi ya siku 4 na washindwa kuvuka. Wanatuambia basi clear sio nini, hakuna wanachoeleza kitu cha maana. Zikija gari za Kenya zinavuka, sisi hatuvuki.
Ukifika pale customer, process inakuwa iko nyingi, unakaa siku 3, 4. Kila kitu unaambiwa iko tayari, unaambiwa unatoka, ukiuliza nini shida, hamna shida yoyote. Sasa kidogo wao wanafafanua changamoto. Kwa nini ukitoka Tanzania kuja upande wa kuvuka Kenya kuna usumbufu mwingi, lakini ukitoka Kenya kwenda Tanzania ni mara moja unafanywa clearing na unapita.
And Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has asked security officers in Laikipia to intensify operations in the region, saying the government will not tolerate laxity in ensuring safety of the people. The DP said the government will ensure everyone was secure in the region and that they will intensify efforts to ensure peace prevailed in the county. As earlier promised, Gachagua also asked national government administration officers and security officials to act tougher on those distributing illicit brew, issuing a warning to those who will sleep on their jobs.
Kazi ya Laikipia is to sort out insecurity na mambo ya wildlife and human conflict, mambo ya kutafuta segenge ya kuweka ya kuzuia wanyama. Kwa hivyo hiyo ni mambo ambayo tutakuwa tukisaidiana. Mimi nilikuja hapa Nyahururu na nikasema mkinichagua mimi na William Ruto, Laikipia tutatengeneza mambo ya usalama na hakuna watu watauawa. Tumejaribu, imepungua lakini bado. So wewe county commissioner na timu yako, Kanyiri wewe na Nyoike, please can you do your work? Yeah, mimi hiyo maneno ya vifo hapa sitaki. I mean, why? I'll call you for a meeting with the leaders, you tell me why. What you need from us, you tell us. Sindio? Yeah, hiyo maneno tumalize bana. We cannot have a situation pahali watu wanauawa kama kuku, alafu watu hawalali.
Tomatoes Finance Bill and National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula has urged MPs to engage in a sober debate on the finance bill, saying the legislators have the power to amend contentious clause in the proposed law. Wetangula, while noting that he encouraged the raging debate on the bill, sobriety should prevail. He asked leaders not to mislead wananchi on the content of the documents, sentiments supported by the Health CS, Susan Nakhumicha.
Ninyi wabunge, you are in committees. You know hakuna haja kuja kufurahisha wananchi na kusema maneno when you are supposed to be the one who is removing the things you are telling people are bad. Ni jukumu ya wewe kama mbunge.
Finance bill ambayo wanaongelea, mimi kama waziri nimesema bei ya kununua vitu za kutengeneza madawa iko pale, imeshukishwa. Bei ya kutengeneza vaccines iko kwenye finance bill, imeshukishwa. Bei ya kulipa NHIF kupunguza kutoka 500 hadi 300 iko kwenye finance bill na imeshukishwa chini.
These as opposition legislators continue to urge the Finance Bill 2023 be amended so that controversial clauses that threaten to increase cost of living are dealt with.
Hiyo inamaanisha wabunge wetu, ikiwa mnasikia sauti ya wananchi, when you go to parliament, please look at those clauses ambazo zinaongeza gharama ya maisha kwenda juu, mtoe zile amendments ili hiyo bill ipite bila kuongeza gharama ya maisha kwenda juu.
Uliza Mheshimiwa Wetangula, as a senior most loyal politician, kaa na Rais William Samoei Ruto, waambie bei ya maisha iko juu, and use your wisdom to advise the president.
Sio mambo ya housing peke yake, iko mambo mengi chafu hapo. Hata ukiangalia memorandum ambazo zimekuja kwa kamati ya finance, 90% of those memorandum stakeholders wamekataa.
I'm Dennis Asata. Good morning.
.5 Spice FM, Kisumu.
All right. After 8 o'clock, looking at traffic in different parts of the city, is still looking like it will be heavy coming off of Thika Superhighway. Gitanga Road, then looking on the other side of things, coming off Ngong Road, Naivasha Road, heading out towards James Gishuru, Lavington, that whole area, crawling along very slowly as you approach Wayaki Way. Also looking then now at the Thika Superhighway, heavy with traffic as you're coming then in towards the CBD. And on Kiambu Road this morning, we're looking at heavy coming then towards Muthaiga Square. All right, Raka, that whole area, Limuru Road, and then coming in from the northern bypass, heavy traffic still continues. Jogo Road was heavy from this morning, and it still is. The Lekoni interchange is spilling over towards the southern bypass. So traffic hour is where we still are, at least for now. Let's talk on Spice FM KE on Twitter. Keep things moving this Monday.
This is the Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Welcome to the third hour of Kenya's biggest conversation. This is the Situation Room, live on Spice FM, on KTN Home, on YouTube, and on Facebook. Our Facebook and YouTube page and channel name is Spice FM. So if you miss a conversation, maybe you got into a meeting or you got up late or there was no power or something or the other, you can always catch up with our conversations at whatever time of day, whatever day of the year on our YouTube stream, because you will find all the conversations that we have every day stored in there. Just go to Spice FM and you will find the conversations. In this hour, we want to have a different conversation. This is about citizen agency and the power of citizens in getting things done. We're joined by Happy Olal. He's the national convener for the Social Justice Center's working group. Happy, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
You look happy.
How many times do you get asked that question?
Are you happy?
Yeah. Are you your name? Okay.
Yeah. How happy are you today? Karibu sana, Happy.
Asante.
You know Sarit Center, right?
Yes.
In Westlands?
Yes.
How long do you think Sarit Center has been there where you find it today? How many years? Guess.
30 years.
30, yeah. Why 30? All your life you've seen it there. Ndu?
If you are 30, Sarit Centre has been there 10 more years than you have, and this year, this June, Sarit Centre is celebrating 40 years of a great shopping retail experience and saying, come on down to the Sarit Centre every day between 1 and 2 p.m. You spend 2,040 shillings and you could get a chance to spin the magic wheel and win very many things, from shopping vouchers to dining vouchers to gym vouchers, a car, a cruise. What's your poison, essentially? Doesn't matter, but because the magic wheel will give you something. Spice FM is also saying we're celebrating with Sarit. Talk to us on our social medias, YouTube and Facebook at Spice FM KE. Tell us what you would spend 2,040 shillings on, and you could win a hamper today.
Kabisa. Happy, before I give you the day's proverb, I have a message for you from KRA. They want to remind you to file your tax returns. Have you done it?
I did
last
week.
You already done it,
on a Monday morning.
Very good. You're one of those good Kenyans who are not waiting for the last minute. And that's a message from KRA. Please do not wait for the last minute. Go to itax.kra.go.ke today and file your tax returns. You've got an income, file the tax returns, get your employer from your employer the P9 form, use it to file the returns. If you've got no income that you've had in the last 1 year, it's okay, just go in and file nil returns. If you are a foreigner and you're running a business in this country, also you need to file your returns. Or if you're a Kenyan and you're outside the country, please don't forget your civic duty back here. File your tax returns. You've got until the end of June. We have this week's Proverbs, Happy, are from the country of Zambia. Mm-hmm. Ever been to Zambia?
No.
Okay. So Zambia, you know where it is. It's one of those countries that is in the SADC region. And in fact, they had a conference just the other day on COMESA. And President William Ruto was there and he addressed the meeting of the COMESA leadership that was meeting there. The proverb from Zambia says, jump over a log, but not over your neighbor's words. Jump over a log, but not over your neighbor's words. Does it make sense to you?
Jump over a log. And not over your neighbor's
words.
It's good for reflection.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's your interpretation of it?
I think it means you might need your neighbor, so be good to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Your house might catch fire and they might be the savior at that point. That's how I understand it.
That's your interpretation.
Yeah.
There's never a wrong interpretation with a proverb. It's always your personal interpretation and viewpoint, and it's a good one. So tell us about the social justice centers. What is a social justice center?
Yeah, social justice centers are community-owned, community-based, community-led organizations that advocate for social justice and human rights at the community level. We started social justice centers because we discovered that mostly in our slums and informal settlements, we have a lot of violations that are happening, but the agencies that are available to help the citizens are a bit far from where the citizens are. So we decided to start centers in the localities where we stay. In mostly informal settlements, slums, and rural villages. And one thing that when we were starting, we had a big issue with extrajudicial killings. Like I've grown in Dandora. At some point, we used to lose up to between 15 and 20 young people per month.
What? Every month?
Yes.
To what?
To police killings. And around 3 to 5 cases of enforced disappearances where someone is arrested, never to be seen again, or will be found in a river somewhere in Ngong Forest or those manner of places. So we were doing this for ourselves because if you have a young, mostly male, between 15 to around 26, they were... You could, when you get to 40 years, when you guka, because a lot of
you have very few of you who are alive.
Yeah. So this is why we decided, no, we can't keep quiet anymore, because we live in these communities. And if we don't fight, we will still be killed. So you'd rather try to do something. And we've managed to especially manage situations in Dandora and Kariobangi. There's a reduction of extrajudicial killings. In Dandora, I can say the reduction is like 70% than when we started. There's still killings, but not as big as it was. Yeah.
And what did you do? What would you say happened? What took place specifically, whether it was over time or, immediately, that would have seen a reduction in something like this? Because it's complaining about a situation and then maybe nothing is done about it and saying, okay, now we must take action. So what are those action points that were taken to then see the reduction of extrajudicial killings over time?
It was a lot of work. Where we bring in agencies. We brought in agencies such as IPOA, Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, organizations such as Independent Medical Legal Unit. So we started, first we started putting names into figures. You could come and say 15 people have been killed. We started putting faces into figures and say, not 15. This is Maina, this is Sonyango. They have families. And out of that, we also we started documenting these cases, where we just, simple documentation, this Happy killed on this day by this officer, and putting them out there so that people can see that there's a tragedy. We started having community conversations, saying that they used to say that all these people are criminals, and we could say that we have the biggest criminals in our governments. Why are they not being killed? There are people who kill the future of young people. So it was very difficult at the beginning, but when people started talking about it, first you have to talk about it, because it was not easy even to speak about someone killed by police, but we started speaking about it, putting publicly. It out there. Yes. We started having press conferences, having marches, Sabasaba March for Our Lives, where we could just come out and say, stop killing us, stop killing our people. So it was a lot of work with a lot of people, and also started asking for accountability. One death, we follow it through, make sure there is post-mortem, Yeah, so it was difficult, but we are managing well. At least now it's a big discussion, even in the country, about extrajudicial killings.
So look at all the things that you've said so far. There's a problem, it's been identified. Obviously, it is a menace to people in a particular community, maybe even around the country. There has been help that has been sought. Maybe that help has not been forthcoming and has been ignored, right? Yeah. There is a place whereby the community reaches where they've said, it is too much. We cannot continue like this. And then there's a decision that is taken to say, we will now insist that you do your job, accountability.
Yes.
We will insist that one life lost is one life too many.
Yeah.
And the justice that can be done, not in terms of bringing this person back, but is to making sure that everything that you ought to do to find out what happened has actually been done. The rest we leave to fate. But have you done your job? And you find that if you keep that conversation current, and if you keep insisting on this particular thing without letting down, like you've said, we will insist. This person with a name, with a face, was killed. We will insist that the due diligence is done. You will do your investigation. You will take your fiduciary responsibility to make sure that something is done till we get a result. And you don't get tired till you get the result. This is how we've gone through this.
Yes.
Without getting tired.
Yes.
Do you think that same formula can be lifted and then applied to other things in this country?
Yes, and last week we were in a protest on the finance bill. It's not that it can; it is already being done. Where we are, and it's very sad that we were tear gassed. Yet we had notified the police that we'll be doing this. It's like now the police, they have never understood the word notify. It is like it's seeking permission to, yet the constitution is clear. So we've started doing this, and we did a march. Young men came out to protest against the finance bill, because we've discussed this in our community and various communities, and we found out that this bill is going to make life very difficult for Kenyans. So already we are coming out not under any political banner, because it says every Kenyan has a right. So we are also planning another one tomorrow. I know they will still come for us. I want also to urge the police to read the constitution and understand. The OCS Central just said the other day, we were in his office, said, I have orders from above, you will not do that protest. And we told him we will hold you accountable, because the law allows me just to notify you. We did that on Thursday. But you cannot just come plainly and say you will not do it. Where is the constitution? Where is our law? So in terms of whatever is happening around the country, we are also following up. We have a campaign called Njaa Revolution, because people are angry. Nowadays, people eat one major meal, which most of the time is dinner. And the rest are just like bites. And you cannot keep quiet, and the country is not doing well. So it's something that we are still doing at all levels, at national
community level and at national level.
Yes.
But then, and this is where the other question comes in for me, how do you distinguish social justice centers from CBOs and civil society organizations? Because others we see looking like a civil society organization with a regional or a national focus. But you told us that social justice centers are community-based.
Yes.
They are localized. So how do you create that distinction between that localized one and then taking over a national agenda?
The difference is that for us, you do your activism first where you stay, because it's about building your, we call it dignity, where it doesn't matter where you are born or where you are at the moment. That place, you are supposed to live in dignity. So most of the time, Kenyans or people wait for others to come and fight for them. You are the one who stays in that community. You know the challenges, you know the solutions. Why shouldn't you be the first person to take action? Maybe a sewer burst in your community. First, speak about it. Hold people accountable. We need every community to be dignified, and we need safe spaces. We fight gender-based violence. When you have a rapist in your community, he might rape your neighbor's daughter, but tomorrow it will be your daughter. So why should we have such people in your community? So social justice center is different because, one, it is where you stay, where you are at the moment. Two, other organizations will find that for you to work for them, you need papers, degrees. As you just need yourself, the passion that I want to do something for my community. So we will not, there is no criteria that, no, you need these papers. But just avail yourself the spirit for volunteership and do something for your community. And that is the uniqueness. Ile ground kabisa.
Yes. In your ground.
Yes.
Organizing is never easy.
Yes.
All right? Because there's organizing, you can say, because all of us are in the same neighborhood. I mean, you just come out of your house and we meet and we raise an issue and we go back home. But it cannot be easy. You require some sort of structure and leadership.
Yes.
How does a social justice center then structure itself in terms of leadership? Is there like a best practice for leadership, that there will be a convener, a chairman,
secretary, an organizing secretary, a treasurer when money comes in. What's the structure like?
Yeah, the structure is just like you've indicated. First, it is through the democratic elections, where you need people to allow you to lead. It's through an election, and then every social justice center has a leadership structure, but there's where we meet now as various social justice centers. We have every center sends 2 representatives to the working group. That is where we have another layer of elections. Nairobi is a working group, is a chapter. We have a coastal chapter, we have the western chapter, then we have a national leadership. So at every level, there's elections. At every level, we have a leadership, a very clear but simple leadership structure. There's a convener, we don't have a chair. The chairpersons, especially chairmen, have been disaster in this country. So as we work with either a coordinator or a convener. But it's a simple election just to give you some responsibility, because every organization must have some form of leadership where the buck stops.
And how is it funded?
First, through community resources. You'll find that as I'll give an example of Dandora Justice Center, where I come from. We are based at the county space. County hold these spaces on behalf of wananchi. So we have a space at the county. That's where we have our office. We got a partner who wanted to help us with some rent, but we had a discussion. Instead of giving us money for 2 years, can we have a container? So we have a container office, and we seek funds from our partners for different campaigns. Like we have gender-based violence campaign on right to life. That is the one on police killings. We have issues campaigns on things like land, and now every community has its own specific campaigns which are unique to that area. Like Dandora, there is the dam site, so we have a campaign on an environmental pillar campaign. So that's how we work. So we seek funds, we get support from communities.
What's the response like from the community? Let's take the Dandora one. Okay, when you started, did other members of the community see this is just those vijanas who are criminals in this area organizing, so now they can start fighting the police in an organized manner, or did they see what you were saying?
When we started, it was difficult because first on the campaign that we touched on, we used to have a community where some issues were never spoken about. We used to have a community where you are suspected of being a criminal, you are posted on a Facebook page, SC, or Nairobi crime free. Then 2 days or a week later, you are killed. Then they post you again. This is the guy we told you about. Now we've dealt with him, and people said, "Very good job, Hongera." And we wanted to stop all this, so it was not easy. Our first community dialogue against police killings was chaotic. As we are fighting crime, you are promoting crime. But now, when it came clear that not everyone who's being shot is a criminal. The story of Carlington Maina from Kibra. We had now faces of people where the community started asking questions, but we know Eric is a journalist. How comes you say he's a criminal, you see? And now the narrative started changing. The last time we had extrajudicial killing in Dandora, it is the community that invited us to a protest. It is not, it's the other way around, where we used to say, this guy has been killed, we cannot remain silent anymore, let's come up. And it is the community that now comes and say, this is not right, we are doing a protest tomorrow, come and join us. And this has been our work, which we've done with a lot of threats, because when you are dealing with the police, definitely, you put your life on the line. a lot of threats. We lost Comrade Karo Mwada 5 years ago. You know, it's not been easy. But the spirit to fight for justice, the spirit, when you see your children there in that community, you say, I cannot allow my children to suffer the way we suffered. Can we try and make the community better? Yeah.
Must this engagement be antagonistic with the authorities? Are you constantly, appearing like you're fighting or you're, pushing the authorities hard? If it's the police, do you have areas where you basically have some collaboration, where you're working together with the police, or are you always raising issues that the police have done?
Yeah, two things. One, Wangari Maathai said human rights are not things that are given. Human rights are things that you fight for. When necessary, we've had discussions. We've sat down with the government and told them, this is not right. What can we do together? We work closely with government agencies like IPOA, Kenya National Commission on Human Rights. These are government agencies. Witness protection. Yeah, but once we are members of the Police Reforms Working Group that now brings the government together with the civil society actors to have a discussion on how the police can reform from a force to a service. Although now working with the government sometimes is a bit difficult because they are very good at promising. But when you go back to the community, the OCS is still the same. It doesn't even know that you met the government and spoke about police reforms. So you'll find that the reforms are being done at this level, at the police station level, nothing. They say they only changed the uniform. They are still the same old police officers.
Police in Yule.
So this is a constant struggle. When it needs us to be antagonistic, we will be antagonistic. When it needs us to network and sit down and have a discussion, so long as the discussions bear fruits, we cannot be sitting there every day, then tomorrow you are tear gassing us in the streets, then the other day you are calling us again. That has been the challenge.
Let's take a break at 29 minutes to 9. Happy Olal is the national convener of the Social Justice Center's working group. We are talking about the power of citizen agency this morning. The Social Justice Centers are community-based, like Happy is telling us, community-based, community-led, community-organized organizations that basically raise issues of what's happening in the community with the relevant authorities with a view to getting solutions, not just raising issues and leaving them hanging. Conversation continues shortly. In the meantime, when you take this break and Ndu tells us about weather and traffic, we want you to go to your mobile phone, go to your App Store or Play Store, search for 911 Group app. Download the app. It takes very fast. It's a very light app. So download it and then you have it on your phone. The good thing about having such an app, Happy, is in case you are somewhere and you need immediate rescue intervention. Let's say you're somewhere and you're feeling insecure and you want support. Let's say you are driving and your vehicle breaks down and you need support. Let's say you're in a public service vehicle and something has happened and you need to raise that awareness. You press the button on the app, it is immediately alerts people at the 911 call center. 911 is a private security company. They see it. Because of your app, they can pick out where you are specifically with the GPS location. They dispatch a team to you and they coordinate response for you. Best way to have such, huh? Yeah. It's a very, very, very good thing to have. So please download it. 911 Group app. Back shortly.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Bro, the game is about to start. Let's go. Yeah. But just give me a minute, man. Malize.
What's up? Who are you chatting with?
I'm just filing my returns, then we bounce. Because I hope you remember the deadline is June 30th. The game will start, banner. Where, it doesn't take time. And yep, I'm done.
That was fast. Where? Show me how you've done yours because I don't want to pay any penalty.
Just log into itax.kra.go.ke and file your returns. And if you don't know how to, just go to KRA's YouTube page and watch a tutorial. It's that easy.
Allah, filing returns is easier than cooking.
Easy peasy, msay.
Kenya Revenue Authority reminds all PIN holders to file their 2022 tax returns on or before 30th of June 2023. For assistance, call 0711 099 999 or email callcenter@kra.go.ke. You can also visit any of the KRA service centers or any Huduma center countrywide. Kenya Revenue Authority. Tulipe ushuru, tujitegemee.
Sun is peeking through those clouds in Nairobi, highs of 25 and lows of 14 today. We'll see lows of 15 in a cloudy Nakuru at 16 and mostly cloudy at 15 in Nyeri, highs of 24. 23 will be the high in a sunny Eldoret at 13, and at 23 it's mostly cloudy in Mombasa, highs of 29, and we'll see highs of 30 in a sunny Malindi at 25. It's 19 and sunny in Kampala, highs of 28, and we'll go to highs of 30 in a sunny Dar es Salaam at 22. Looking into Johannesburg, it's partly cloudy at 10, highs of 18, and we'll see highs of 30 in Lagos, where it's mostly clear at 25. It's partly cloudy at 23 in Kinshasa, highs of 30 and lows of 23.
Spice up your life.
We'll be crawling out of traffic hour not too long from now, but into the CBD and out is where we're seeing a lot of it this morning. All right, this right here is traffic coming off of North Airport Road. It was heavy, but that's, seeding out towards the Eastern Bypass. It's just clogged there at that junction, but you should be okay. We're looking at traffic on Lunga Lunga. It's spilling over towards the Likoni interchange and touching on the Southern Bypass this morning. All right, looking at the western part of the city coming off of Waiyaki Way, you're all right. So we keep fingers crossed that it remains just so. Spice FMKE on Twitter.
Spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself.
It's 23 minutes to 9. This is Kenya's biggest conversation, the Situation Room. The conversation continues with Happy Olal, National Convener of the Social Justice Centre's Working Group. You organized last week's Sita demos.
Yes.
That was actually organized by the Social Justice Centres.
Yes.
And you're organizing another one again this week.
Yes.
When we were having that conversation last week on the show, we talked about how we normally see citizens rising up against an issue at their local level, at the community. If they are unhappy about a hospital and how a hospital is being managed, you'll see people going to that hospital and raising that issue. If it's about a school, you will see people actually going and saying, this school, the headmistress, the headmaster, or the school board, we need to change the board of management, there's something wrong. If it's about a road, you'll see people rising up. If it's about a spate of insecurity, people will come out. But then beyond that community level, when it starts becoming a national level, then you see less and less people engaging. What's been your experience just using this particular demo on the finance bill? If you look at how you engage people at community level, come out, guys, let's raise this issue about something, and then you tell them, now let's go to CBD and demonstrate about the finance bill. Is it the same kind of response that you get?
No, it's not. I think most of the time Kenyans think that issues of national issues are left to mostly the politicians.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we've been trying to do is to remind Kenyans that Article 1 of the Constitution indicates that all sovereign powers belong to you. Article 3 of the Constitution says that every Kenyan has a responsibility to protect and defend the Constitution.
Responsibility.
Yes. So Article 3 makes every Kenyan a human rights defender or an active, we call them active citizens. And then now, I think the issues of national, most of the time, were left to either the parliament or our national leaders. But now the shoe is pinching. Now people are starting to come out. And I think it's a good thing that we have a government that doesn't care. So by the end of 5 years, we'll have
It's a good thing.
Yes. We'll have a lot of Kenyans in the streets, just like during Moi's time, because some of the things that are being done were last done during Moi's time.
What would that situation then guarantee? What would a situation whereby people are up in arms and saying, you know what, this is ridiculous, we're at the wall. What would be the resultant action, in your opinion, of people coming out and saying, look, this is enough?
Sadly, it is sadly because I'm saying this 10 months, just 10 months after the election of the current government, the result will be like in 2002 when people said, "Yote haiwezekana bila Moi." You know, when people are enough is enough. Because personally, I don't understand all the promises that the government gave, especially to young people, to watu wa kawaida, mama mboga, boda boda. And now, how things have changed drastically. I was in the supermarket yesterday and I could not believe that 2 kg of sugar is 415 shillings.
Yeah.
415.
The experience will put some hair on your chest. It's not
230 unga. I bought it at 230. Yet the government say unga ni 150. Like machongumu tu. You know there are some things you can lie, but you cannot lie on things like food. You see, so these are things that will bring people out. Issues of school fees. How many people? Then you are bringing in more taxes on already watu wamefinyiliwa. Imagine now it's 415, 2 kg of sugar minus the VAT is 8%.
Yeah.
By next month, if the bill passes, it will be around 450.
Easily.
Yes. Unga will be how much? 250, 260.
There's a realization that, and from what you've seen, and I mean, I really do believe that we don't use our capital as citizens enough. I know that I believe right now in Kenya there is an awakening. I believe that there is a rising towards that responsibility. I don't feel that it has been we've not really started to drive it. Do you think it is because there is not an understanding of just how powerful the citizen really is? Not an understanding of what you need or I think that's clear. But how powerful you actually are when you're demanding accountability from those who've been put in a position of leadership. Do you think that Kenyans realize just how powerful they are to demand this?
That has not been fully exploited in that Kenyans can make very good online noise and they will be heard. And, there's a way governments operate where they rather have you whine online and have these hashtags. They'll only last for a day. And that's what I ask is, why is it different when I go to whine in the streets? Why is the government so jittery?
Because they can see you.
No, it's
online, they can't
more
see
than
you,
that.
really. Yeah.
The streets have brought governments down. Across the continent, governments have gone down because of the streets. So there's a way government doesn't like people who mobilize. They'd rather mobilize online and have these online conversations. But online must be accompanied by offline. You make online noise and you get out and say this is not right. It is a language that the government listens easily and they don't like it. So The citizen agency. The citizen agency, there's a lot that needs to be done, in that even in your capacity where you work or where you are, you can do something. You can either support someone who is doing something, or you can be that person. The other issue, the issue of fighting for rights, most of the time, there's a narrative that goes around. So when you see Olal, they'll come and say, those are donor-funded people.
Civil society.
Do you need donor funding to ask why bei ya unga iko juu? So there's also this narrative that the government likes it. They call you evil society, donor-funded. Yet they are the ones who depend on donors. When you see Ruto shaking president hands with a big smile when they get money for support. But there's that narrative. So people think that if you work in this, for you to be an active citizen, you have to be paid by someone else. As we are telling people that this is about your country, this is about the future of your kids and your grandkids, you have to be at the first, you have to make the first step. So it has not been fully exploited, but through various organizing, I think we are slowly moving towards that direction.
There's something that you said, and you brought in the angle of the Constitution, and you talked about Article 1 and Article 3. I'm going to read Article 1, which is about the sovereignty of the people, where it says, all sovereign power belongs to the people of Kenya and shall be exercised only in accordance with this Constitution. And then it now starts to delegate those powers. The people may exercise their sovereign power either directly or through their democratically elected representatives. Also, sovereign power under the Constitution is delegated to state organs which shall perform their functions in accordance with the Constitution. What are those state organs? Number 1, Parliament and the legislative assemblies in county. Number 2, the national executive and the county executives. And number 3, the judiciary and independent tribunals. Okay? So we've already created those structures where we say our power can be exercised in a delegated authority through these institutions, but number 1 is the elected representatives, and then we ourselves. And then there's Article 3, which talks about defense of the Constitution. Every person has an obligation to respect, uphold, and defend this Constitution. Yeah. Now, I think that one on the obligation and the responsibility is a big one.
Yes.
Because for you to take up that responsibility and obligation to defend the Constitution, you, number 1, need knowledge. Do the people of Kenya, from your interaction at community level, at various levels as a convener of the social justice centers, do the people of Kenya understand? Do they have proper civic awareness of the responsibility to defend the Constitution? Do they have proper political awareness?
Yeah, I think in terms of awareness, the level is not very much low. Every Kenyan will tell you, I know my rights. They're very good at that.
Yes.
Yeah, I know my rights.
This is Kenya.
Yes. So in terms of knowing your right, people know the Constitution a bit, especially where it touches them. Yeah. People know the Constitution. The only aspect is the political angle. That is where we get it all wrong. Where people forget that when you are employing your house manager, you do a lot of due diligence. Where did you come from? Where is your home? A lot of things, put into consideration.
And you're constantly watching them.
Yes. But when it comes to employing the presidency and MP, I don't know what happens. Now we start asking, which tribe does he come from? That is something that we've never understood. That when it comes to employing the person who is going to carry your future for the next 10 years, 5-10 years, now you throw away everything in the wind. Now say, this is my tribe, this is our party. Instead, could have been the best moment where you sit down and look at this person, look at the track record, look at a lot of things. What has he ever done or she ever done? But that is where now sasa sisi ni Wajaluo, sisi tuko kwa ODM, sisi tuko UDA, sisi ni Wakikuyu, and then 1 month later, the president has been sworn in, the government is in place. Then I say, you told us that we'll have 30% women.
Yes.
50%, 30%, it is not happening. And we start complaining a month later.
Yeah.
And we complain the next 5 years. Then we go back to our tribes.
Yeah.
So in terms of political, that is where there's a lot of work to be done.
There's a disconnect.
Yeah,
you know, I say this and I hold that, just like you've said, that responsibility comes not only in complaining, but also in action. In action from that point when you are exercising that civic duty to delegate your powers to an elected leader. At that point, people need to understand exactly what you're doing. By going to the ballot or by even choosing not to go to the ballot, there's something major that you're doing there. You're delegating your authority to somebody.
Yeah.
Then you cannot sit back and always be complaining. You've got to be participating throughout. You've got to be participating in deciding and defining what you want. What do you want in your community? What do you want in terms of levels of security? How do you define security? How do you define food security? How do you define access to health, access to education? You've got to be very clear on that definition so that then your leader understands what exactly you mean. But you know, when we sit back and we always, you know, at this point is when you're coming in the last stages and saying I'm complaining about against high taxation. Against what? So what is it that you want? What do you want instead, right? We don't say the what instead.
Of this, yeah.
Yes, and I have a problem with that. We have an issue. Yes, the cost of unga is high. We want it to come low. So do we have an idea of what could happen for it to come low, to come down? Can we tell our elected representatives to whom we've delegated that power that this is it we want? Go and do it.
Yes, we know what we want. Like, for example, when you look at the government spending, you have a cabinet secretary, you have a principal secretary. Why do you need a CAS? over 50 of them. That is increasing the wage bill. You see?
Yeah.
The amount of money that currently is the presidency, they have added more money to the presidency because apparently the president needs to travel more and all that.
Just about 11 billion like this will do.
That would be
Imagine 11 billion. What can 11 billion do even in a sector of health?
It can complete the money that's needed for education.
Right now we are saying NHIF haina pesa and every month mnakatwa mshahara inaenda kwa NHIF. Where is that money? So people know that if we can cut down government, we just need people not to reward our friends, but people who can work. We don't need all those CAS. In fact, I really feel bad when I see people now, people like Akina Itumi, sasa on CAS. What is their responsibility? You know, the courts, kuna court order that says they should not even be paid. Are we following those court orders? The issue of taxes. When you look at the amount of money, 30% of every year's budget get lost through corruption. What if we fight corruption? Truly. You know, there's this fighting corruption where you come and arrest people on Friday and say, you know, and then after
5 years,
a few months, the DPP now withdraws all the cases, yet money was stolen. What happened? Money was stolen.
That is something that we can say, because I say that we are diagnostic, but we're not prescriptive, right? So that is one way in which we can, because this is the problem, don't do that. But what can we do? And I see that because if we're saying, look, a major hole is corruption. A major hole is corruption. And we're saying, you're telling us not to tax people. Yes, we're saying don't tax people to these levels whereby they cannot function. But here is something that you can do to recover some of that money, which is getting lost anyway. Plug the holes in corruption. Be serious about fighting corruption. Use the agencies that you have to make sure that the holes that have been created by corruption to such an endemic level over the years are actually being sealed, and be serious about it. You wouldn't have to look for more money to run the country from people's taxes.
Yes.
So there is a way in which now you prescribe a solution towards something.
And, Kenyans can fight corruption. I remember when Kibaki was elected, Kenyans even used to arrest police officers who are taking bribes, and they could say, you knew corrupt. This is our new government. We don't want corruption. I think that government really messed Kenyans, because at that point, Kenyans were the most optimistic. Kenyans were amongst the happiest in the world. Then the government went back to the old corrupt ways, Anglo-leasing and all that. I think ilivunja watu moyo sana. I mean, they felt that, we thought now. So Kibaki messed that, agency. There was that psyche that we can stop corruption, we can fight it. And then Uhuru came, and now Ruto behaves as if he was not in the last government. They say the problem was in the last government, So the lies also, we need to have a discussion about lying in this government. I don't know why we are not talking about it. There's a lot of lying of the last regime and this current regime, and it's not right.
What kind of lying? What do you mean by lying?
In 100 days. Do you remember those words?
In 6 months.
In 6 months' time.
6 months' time. It is now 10 months' time. By end of this year, every Kenyan will have NHIF cover. Do you remember those words?
Yeah.
We'll have.
I saw the other one. Women will have diapers.
Diapers.
Yes.
Children born.
I didn't even remember.
Born in the next 3 months, they will all have diapers.
Yes, and remember the Camarine Stadium and all this.
But I see, that's the thing, Happy. That's what I'm saying. We take in the promises without any accountability. We ourselves seem to just forget, or when we remember, we are just moving on. We were told about Stadia, they never came. We were told about universal health coverage, it never started. We were told about 500,000 housing units, it never came. We were told about this and the other roads, Mau and each other, they never happened. Now we are being told about UHC, it will never happen.
Just another story.
Yeah, it's because those, for me, there's a clear distinction. There's those in the political class, and it doesn't matter where you want to group them. They are the same lot.
Yes.
You put them in the Azimio, you put them in Kenya Kwanza, they are the same people.
Yeah.
They understand very well that what you want to hear is you want to hear the stories, but you will never follow up. How can citizens then follow up? How can we, all these things that we are saying, that Ruto said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, answer for those ones?
No, the challenge is that we can only do a report form after 5 years. Yeah, unless now you get tired before 5 years, and that will not be a constitutional mean. But constitutionally, after 5 years is where you get the report card. And I wish Kenyans could, when you want to build a house, first you build it in your mind. You want open kitchen and all these, and then you bring in the expert. That is how we should be electing. And I think after 5 years, in 2027, Kenya will be a bit wiser, Kenyans, because of
this Kenya.
Yeah, they will be more wiser.
Why do you say that?
Because political decision affects what you eat.
Yes.
Yeah. So once that gets into our head, we'll start making better decisions. This issue of, there's one thing that happened in the last election. How many Kenyans did not vote?
Many.
Not voting is voting.
Yes.
Why? Especially young people. Because they don't feel anything. They don't feel this politic thing. So how can we, the young people could have voted their president. Those who didn't vote, there were around 8 million people. Ruto got in with, was it?
About 7 point something.
7 point. So the people did not vote. Could have voted in their president. The young people did not vote. Plus the other people who will be joining the 18 plus in the next 5 years. I wish we could find a way to channel that energy. Those people can get us a very good government.
They can deliver us.
They can deliver us from this evil.
Happy, thank you for joining us today. And yes, let's wait and see. I do not think there'll be any shift in the mindset of Kenyans in the next 5 years, but that's just the skeptic in me. Happy Olal is the national convener of the Social Justice Centre's working group. He's been our guest this morning on the conversation that we want to keep having about the power of citizen agency. Good morning. It's 9 a.m.
Spice up your life.
Good morning, this is Newswire. I'm Dennis Aseto. President William Ruto and his Djibouti counterpart Ismail Gule have emphasized the importance of aligning the drawdown of a regional force in Somalia with the country's security capabilities. The two leaders speaking in Djibouti appear to suggest that they would not support any proposal to terminate the mandate of troops in Somalia without assurances of Somalia's capability to effectively tackle Al-Shabaab. In line with the UN Resolution 2670, the African Union Transition Mission in Somalia ATMIS is expected to draw down 2,000 troops by June 30th in a phased handover of security responsibility to the Somalia security forces in the implementation of the Somali Transition Plan. Now, a section of United Democratic Alliance party members from Kakamega County have called on the party leader, President William Ruto, to reconcile with the former vice chairperson, Seth Panyako. According to the members, Panyako, who resigned from the party position in May, was the reason UDA became popular in Kakamega County. Another member, Arnold Shisanya, warned that UDA's popularity in Kakamega might decline if the president does not reconcile with the vocal Secretary General of Kenya Union of Nurses. Other party members called on UDA Secretary General Cleophas Malala to mediate the two parties. And police in Busia are holding two G4S employees arrested while transporting bang valued at 1 million shillings. The two were arrested along the Busia-Nambale road while on their way to Nairobi. Nambale Sub-County Police Commander George Ongosi, who spoke with the press, said that the vehicle was flagged down by police officers from Nambale Police Station after the officers were tipped with information that the G4S vehicle was transporting the illegal cargo. According to Ongosi, the bang has been rolled and sealed into cartons. The manner in which the bang had been packaged made it hard for the ordinary person to suspect the boxes contained the drugs. And pastoral communities have been urged to embrace diversification of income sources as opposed to sole dependence on livestock keeping. The renewed call is part of a campaign to improve livelihoods and enhance economic activities in arid and semi-arid lands in the country's not necessarily practice pastoralism. The communities were discouraged from taking livestock keeping for prestige and culture and instead commercialize it for economic gain. National Drought Management Authority Assistant Drought Information Officer in charge of Samburu, Losenge Kolik, said selling livestock does not only enable communities to cater for household needs, but is also a cautionary measure in case of disaster. Internationally, and Ukraine says it has liberated 3 villages in the southeast of the country in the first victories of its much anticipated counteroffensive. Footage on social media showed Ukrainian troops celebrating in the neighboring settlement of Blahodante and Neshchun in the Donetsk region. Kyiv's deputy defense minister said nearby Makarivka was also attacking. President Volodymyr Zelensky confirmed that the counteroffensive had begun. These 3 settlements would be the first liberated since his comments, but not the first that Ukraine has recaptured when pockets of its forces began to advance in the country's south. and at least 10 people died and 25 others are in hospital after a wedding bus crashed in an Australian wine region. The passengers were returning from a wedding at a winery when their coach overturned on Wine County Drive near Greta in Hunter Valley, New South Wales. Police say they are investigating the circumstances surrounding the crash. The driver of the bus, a 58-year-old man, has been arrested. NSW Police Acting Assistant Commissioner Tracy Chapman said the guests were travelling to Singleton, presumably for their accommodation. The number of fatalities could increase with 25 passengers taken to hospital, 2 of them airlifted from the crash. And former U.S. President Donald Trump has termed the sweeping federal indictment against him ridiculous and baseless. Trump has been charged with 37 felony counts alleging that he stored classified documents at his Florida estate after leaving the White House. He blasted the indictment as an attempt to damage his chances of winning a second presidential term when he made speeches at Republican state conventions in Georgia and North Carolina, his first public appearances after the indictment made public. On Friday, according to the indictment, the classified documents Trump stored in his boxes include information regarding defense and weapons capabilities of both the United States and foreign countries, United States nuclear programs, potential vulnerabilities of the United States and its allies to military attacks, and plans for possible retaliation in response to a foreign attack. This is News. I'm Dennis Asado. Good morning.
.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Traffic is coming in from the Thika Superhighway now, much better, just at that Pangani underpass as you head towards Murang'a Road. Apart from that, it's done much better coming in from Githurai. All right, on Limuru Road as well, it's not doing too badly now. That traffic didn't exist really today, just went through and through, and then out towards Wangari Maathai Way as you're getting into the city. Looking at traffic coming off of James Gishuru, coming into Waiaki Way, the Red Hill Link Road still looks pretty good. It has done well all day. Are you coming in on Langata Road? You'll be all right as you get towards the city. You get towards the Nyayo Stadium roundabout, and then you'll be all right getting onto Huru Highway and then into the CBD. Whatever was going on North Airport Road, much better now. That Likoni interchange onto the Southern Bypass also still creeping along just a little bit, but you should be fine. We'll see what happens in half an hour, but traffic hour today has not been too painful. Let's talk on Spice FM KE on Twitter.
This is the Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down.
It is 7 minutes
is
after
the
9.
Situation
How you
Room,
doing?
the
Welcome
only
to the
way to
final hour,
start
Kenya's biggest conversation, broadcasting from Nairobi at the Standard Group Center to the world. We are live on YouTube, on Spice FM, on Facebook. We're always live on KTN Home, everywhere. Into the final conversation of the day today, and we have a new guest joining us. He's the Honorable Anthony Kibagendi, the MP for Kitutu Chache South in Kisii County.
Chache,
Kitutu
Nyeri,
Chache South. So now there is Chache and there is Masaba.
Yes. Chache, we were told is what?
Chache means south.
South.
But
Naribari.
for this particular one, IEBC,
South,
or the
South.
Independent
Electoral and Boundaries Commission
made a mistake in calling it Kitutu South because Chache means south and again south.
But in Nigeria,
So is there Kitutu
South,
Chache
South.
North?
Yes, there is Kitutu Chache North. Kitutu Chache South. And then in Nyamira we have Kitutu Masaba.
Masaba is?
Masaba is east.
Is east.
East.
Yeah.
Where the sun rises.
West? Yeah.
Right?
The sun rises in the east.
Yeah.
So Masaba. So the Masaba, Kitutu Masaba is in Nyamira County.
Yes.
Kitutu Chache
And Kitutu Chache is in Kisii
County.
Yeah.
Are they
neighboring? It used to be a single constituency before it was split into two. That's when they came up with the north and south.
All right.
Yeah. Kitutu Chache South is the constituency that takes half of Kisii town. As you go to Homa Bay County, Oyugis, and the route that goes to Migori, up to a place called the easiest for you is Suneka. And on your way to Oyugis is Cardinal Tunga is the most prominent school. Now that route down all the way we have we have one ward that is literally the Luo community dominant that is at the border.
Okay.
Yeah.
Karibu sana, Anthony.
Asante sana.
It's good to have you on the show.
Yep.
As you come in, Kere wants to know whether you filed your tax returns. Have you remembered? Please don't forget.
I won't forget. I'm working on it.
Very good.
I should do it probably before the end of the day.
You have until the end of the month because, after the end of the month, then you start accruing.
I got a reminder this morning
interests.
on my phone, and I'm working on it. I got it the other day, but I was away. So I think I need to do it sooner rather than later.
And they say it's very easy. You just log on itax.kra.go.ke, file the returns.
It is not easy, but we will do it.
They say it's very easy.
They say it's easy.
Particularly, the problem we have as Kenyans, we are last-minute people, so we overload the portal. Yeah.
In the final days.
Yes.
So make sure you're not among the other Kenyans.
No. I will do my part.
You do yours today.
Yes.
We have the day's proverb. CT is away today, but he'll be back tomorrow. But he sent me the day's proverb. This week's proverbs will be from Zambia, a country called Zambia. And today's proverb says, jump over a log, but not over your neighbor's words. Jump over a log, but not over your neighbor's words. What do you make of that? What's your interpretation of it?
It's a difficult one.
Jump over a log,
but
not
over your neighbor's words. What are my neighbor's words?
Whatever they are. Whatever your neighbor's words are.
What do I make of it? It will take the day for me to think through it. As we proceed,
as we continue the conversation,
I'll be able to.
Yeah. Remember, when you have a neighbor, you are always having conversations on this and the other.
Yep.
Mara mnapigania mpaka.
Kwanza kwetu Kisii.
Kupigania mpaka.
Yes.
Mtu amepanda sijui ameiba 1 foot. And that 1 foot can make people kill each other.
In Kisii it happens.
1 foot.
Yes.
Ama mnashirikiana kitu. Amekuitia,
graduation.
Mtoto amegraduate, kuna harusi umeitwa. Ama, kuna msiba. So you're constantly having conversations with your neighbor.
Yeah.
And you have words with your neighbor. And at some point you'll even, be sharing words of wisdom.
Yes.
You can jump over a log. A log, you just find a log on the road, you just jump.
Yeah.
But what your neighbor is telling you,
you have to take it very serious.
Tafakari hayo.
Nina tafakari.
Bas. You're a first-term member of parliament.
Yes.
What made you get into politics, into elective politics?
If I give you my story, my political story, it is a long one. Because I got into politics while in campus, what I can call national politics. In the year 2005, during the referendum, I was in my second year, and I was involved in student politics. I later became student leader, and it is at that time that I began engaging, especially with the major political players in this country. That is Raila Odinga, Dr. William Ruto, Kalonzo Musyoka, Mudavadi, all these people, because they were against the then proposed constitution, the constitutional changes in the year 2005. And immediately I formed a political party while in campus. It was called Vijana Progressive Alliance. And around that time, I managed to pull a lot of the young political players, that KJ, Ichung'wa, Alfred Keter, all these young politicians. We got into that party, and then later we started a movement called Vijana Tugutuke. The Vijana Tugutuke movement was essentially to encourage young people to get involved in political conversations, in the political game, and be involved in decision-making processes. And then, of course, after campus, just before campus, I decided to run for MP, Kitutu Chache. That time, it was one constituency. Of course, because of naivety and lack of resources, I didn't perform too well, but I learned.
It was a political lesson.
It was a lesson. I never gave up. In 2013, now after graduation in 2007, I began of course, I got into business. I've been in business, I'm still in business. And from proceeds from business is what I was using to run my political campaigns. In 2013, again, I put up a very, very good fight in Kitutu Chache South now. It was split in 2010 after the 2010 constitution. I lost with my head high. Again, never gave up. That time, all this time, I was in 2007, I was with Kalonzo Musyoka. 2013, I was Raila Odinga. 2017, I was aggressively in the Raila Odinga campaign. I was among I was actually the youth leader for ODM, and we had a movement called the Friends of Raila. It was the biggest caucus that was pushing the Raila agenda. I was the vice chair. The chairman then was Kigen. The vice chair was Hassan Omar. We had the current CS for ICT, Owalo, was our secretary general. And we had a very serious movement. And then we had another smaller caucus of, can I call it, mainly young people, where I had myself, Edwin Sifuna, Silvanus Osoro, Babu Owino, all these young people. We were in one team. Unfortunately, ODM that time literally took away my ticket, and gave it to someone else. It was really a very disturbing moment. I'm told you hear about people getting into depression and stuff like that. I actually got into depression between April 2017 and for a month and a half, I was doing badly. But around that time, because Dr. William Ruto knew the kind of person I was and the talent I had, he held my hand and requested me to defect to Jubilee. And that time in Kisii, Jubilee was at 19%, and in Nyamira they were 21%. So I got in, revolutionized the campaign in the larger, can I call it, Gusii region, Kisii, Nyamira, and parts of Kuria. And we turned it around. I was not initially running. My focus was just on the presidential campaign and the Jubilee candidates in the region. So I ensured Jubilee won 3 MP seats. ODM didn't win any. My other focus was to ensure ODM doesn't win. Yeah, and in 2013 they had 33 MCAs and 5 MPs. In 2017 we brought it down to 11 MCAs and 0 MPs. Yeah. Unfortunately, the candidate who was running in my constituency on a Jubilee ticket died 2 weeks to elections. Yeah. Now that is when, again, after we finished the elections, and Uhuru Kenyatta and Jubilee got 50% of the vote from the region. Again, I was taken back to elections. And I really pushed Onyonka, Richard Onyonka. I believe I won, but siasa sometimes
siasa ni local.
No, they altered figures, but again the president told me, no, don't go to court, come here, let's get to my office, we work together. So I was the president's advisor for 5 years, and we did a lot in the hustler movement. I was one of the major players in ensuring the president gets elected. But as we drew closer to elections, again, ile kusikiza ground. I listened to the ground, and where I come from, I said no. I had a chat with the president and told him, I need to get elected just like you want to get elected. While I wish you the best, I know you'd want me to be in your team and push your agenda, but I think I'll have to go to ODM.
Why?
Kusikiza ground.
So ODM had a resurgence.
Yes, in
because
the region.
In 2017, you had managed to diminish ODM's presence.
Yeah.
But you're saying 5 years later, ODM was strong enough that even from your own neck of the wood, the person who had participated in making sure that ODM is dimmed, it had actually beaten you.
Yes. So we had to rethink, and I moved to ODM, where from now I got elected as MP for Kitutu Chache South.
So now you are an ODM MP.
I'm an ODM MP.
Uko juu. Lakini tukikata kama watermelon tutapata uda ndani.
Hapana, mimi nimevaa orange hapa nje na ndani hata mkicheck ni orange. I'm an ODM MP. I'm very consistent and loyal to causes that I believe in. Even if you look at my history, that is the kind of person I am. While I have a wonderful working relationship with the president, that is just that. Things that I believe in that he may not agree with, and I believe, like now the finance bill, I have a totally different stand from what he thinks, and many other things. There are a few things that we agree on, but those that we differ, I don't get really coerced to do what he wants.
You're an independent thinker.
I'm an independent thinker. So and even in ODM, if there are things that I think are inappropriate, I also will tell my party leader or the majority, our minority leader, I do not agree with this, so you may not see me participating in that. So I'm that kind of a person.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's so many things going on in government today.
Yes.
Yes, you've been in the throes of how things work campaign-wise, of putting people into.
Yeah.
But in terms of then now how government works and how we are now looking at how Parliament specifically works, when certain things concerning the country then will be put into place. Finance bill, of course, right now front and center of all of that. It happens every year, but this year specifically, very, very different from others in terms of participation and engagement with all of this. How do you feel that Parliament representation, Parliament, oversight is playing out right now with all that we are seeing, even before we get to matters health? How do you see all of this playing out as concerns Parliament?
You know, as parliamentarians, we are divided into parliamentary committees, departmental committees that oversight specific departments of government. Like now, for like myself, I'm in the health committee.
Yes.
We oversight the entire health ministry and the sagas, the various agencies within the Ministry of Health. We are doing our part, and I want to say that in our first year, especially in that committee, we have done quite a lot in oversighting these particular agencies and trying to ensure we meet our goal as parliamentarians. We are not just there to throw money at them, the budgets that they require. We also try to ensure they actually do their jobs. And where they have what I can call administrative challenges, we get involved in a way that does not interfere with their day-to-day or overall duties. The unfortunate bit is when we get to the general oversight of government, where in the past when we had an opposition leader in the House, it was more vibrant. Right now we have the opposition leader who is outside Parliament, who is actually not recognized by the Constitution. So it gives us a bit of a challenge. And that is why you realize for Raila Odinga, it has to be the hard way, maandamano, for government to listen. And while I appreciate the efforts we make in Parliament through our minority leader and MPs, we also have a conniving president and executive that comes around and hoodwinks some of our MPs to start supporting the agenda that is not consistent with our school of thought as the opposition. While again, even in the opposition, sometimes there are things that we oppose that are not necessarily things we should oppose, but still, as the opposition, you have to be in line with your party. The biggest challenge we have is the tradition and culture that has been built by the regimes before of infiltrating the opposition, getting a few members of Parliament from the opposition, and having them start singing the song of government. Thereby, the oversight role of Parliament kind of gets watered down. And you need to realize, even parliamentarians that are elected in the majority side, they're supposed to offer the oversight role. Unfortunately, they get into Parliament and think that they are part of the executive, which is a major, major problem. Like now, the issue we have with KEMSA, the challenge with KEMSA is overall interference from the executive. It is the executive that facilitates corruption.
How?
In government.
How?
If I go, you want me to go into details?
Well, I mean, you've said it's there. So
when
yes.
the PS tries to interfere with the specifications of what, let's say, the Global Fund is pushing, that is interference from the executive. When the deputy president and his family alleged is involved in that particular procurement process, that is interference from the executive. And even now, sorry to skip and go into matters to do with the levy, the housing levy, it is the executive that is pushing an agenda. If you look at the history of Kenya, each government seems to have a capital intensive project from where there is a hefty loot that is gotten from that particular project. During the Kibaki time, we had Thika Road and the bypasses. That is how the executive and the people around the president made money unfairly through corruption. During the Uhuru regime, the first one was the SGR. The second one was these monies they borrowed, Eurobond and all those things that they were supposed to take care of other details, infrastructure development. And then they kicked out their co-dealers, conspirators. Now, the expressway. That was Uhuru's pet project. He's still eating from it. This money we pay, he's involved. But we don't seem to be calling a spade a spade. Now, Dr. William Ruto and his clique, they've looked around and realized this government does not have money. And there's nowhere for us to be able to get enough money to do the campaigns in 2027. The only way is to push these people to get into this kind of project called the housing project. And I can tell you in 5 years, they'll not be able to do more than 50,000. Now, it is from that one that they want to get kickbacks and bribes that are adequate for them to run the campaign in 2027.
Well, Shimia, how do you know this?
It is almost obvious. what is the urgency in the issue to do with housing? What is so all of a sudden urgent that we need to focus on housing when the most urgent and practical issues in this country right now are health, what you've called me here to discuss today. We have a problem with the health system in Kenya, whereby all of us here are in a WhatsApp group or two where we are contributing for medical bills. Yeah? Number two, in health, the focus we need to give now is on preventive. There are no funds to focus on that. Yeah? Everything in the Ministry of Health, 60 to 70% is going into brick and mortar. Brick and mortar is the easiest way for people to steal, because not every parliamentarian will know how the
bill of quantities.
The bill of quantities is done. Yeah? And stuff like that, the BQs. Number two, the other very urgent issue in this country is food. While we smile here and speak in very good English and Kiswahili, the biggest problem we have right now is food. We don't have food. And if Dr. William Ruto is focused on giving people jobs, the only industry that can genuinely employ people from all walks of life is the entire value chain in the agriculture sector, whereby you have people who start with the training, the agronomist, you come to the field officers, you come to, now after people start producing in mass, they'll have to get into cooperative societies. Cooperative societies must employ clerks, they must employ accountants, they must employ CEOs, and all that. That way, you create employment. When you insist on creating employment in housing, yet it has been very mechanized. Nowadays, watu wa mkono in mjengo are very few, particularly when the contracts will be given to their friends that we know who have machines all over. So what we are looking at right
you're saying it's not a priority?
It is not a priority.
Honorable.
And governments that have tried that, including Angola that has had excess in terms of revenue, that they decided to put up houses, they've not been able to do. And when they did, the uptake is so poor. Even here in Kenya, the houses that have been built, how many have been taken up?
I don't know. You tell me. You see, Anthony Kibagendi, Mheshimiwa.
Yes.
You were an advisor.
Yes.
To the immediate former administration.
Yes.
Which in 2018, end of 2017, first national day that the president addressed, well, it was not first national. I think it was. It was actually, because remember there was a second election. Jamhuri Day, 2017.
Yes.
The president breaks down his tenure, his final term, his legacy project into four.
Big Four agenda.
The Big Four agenda. Housing was one of those Big Four. This is where the whole idea of the housing fund started.
Yes.
Housing was Big Four, agriculture was Big Four, health was Big Four, manufacturing was Big Four. Those four.
Yes.
You are advisor. Even when they split with William Ruto, Ruto was going around the country saying we should be focusing on Big Four.
Yes.
And not on these handshake BBI things.
Absolutely.
Because of people who are advising him like yourself.
Yes.
So you, Anthony Kibagendi, was advising William Ruto that our focus as a country should be Big Four.
Yes.
Housing big among them.
Yes.
Today, you're saying housing is not big.
Housing
is a small Big Four. Or what are you saying?
Great. Now, we as a country, we have a challenge with housing. But it is not urgent. Fuel in 2017 was 120 shillings or less. Fuel right now is 170 shillings. What I'm trying to say, the cost of living then, you cannot compare it to today. Now, that time, had we given attention to the appropriate priorities, we would have moved, we would have reduced on the housing demand in this country. But we lost focus. We decided to do those things that were happening around that time.
BBI and handshakes.
Yes. Now, right now, while housing is important, it is not urgent. We can do it in sequences. We can do it with resources that are available. We can do 20,000 houses to start with. We don't have to do 200,000 houses. Yeah? What I'm trying to say is this. Government doesn't need to go into already grossly strained pay slips to try and get funds from that to impress friends with construction opportunities. Number two, the grossly strained pay slips, we are going to mess up with the constitutional regulation whereby you are not supposed to go below 30% of your earning. Like now for me, if they take the 3%, I'll go. They'll go below the amount I'm supposed to be deducted. No, yeah.
If they take 2,500 shillings from you, you'll go below?
I'm at the
threshold.
The threshold.
Where, Buana?
Yeah,
Boss.
that is the truth.
2,500 shillings.
A bulk of MPs have taken mortgages
3,000
and loans
NHIF
to be able to. Let me tell you, a member of parliament.
If
you're not careful,
you're saying that because members of parliament right now are at a place whereby they're teetering on the edge.
Yes.
And this 2,500 is going to knock you over the edge.
Yes.
Okay.
That is, and not just members of parliament, teachers across the country. Those are 250,000 people. Nurses, doctors, everyone.
They're basically surviving on this remaining 2,500 after everything has been done.
Now, another thing that we don't talk about, the dependency ratio in Kenya. Eric Latif has, on his payday, has 5 to 10 people waiting. Either you help someone pay their fee, help someone pay their rent. There's a relative who needs to come to Nairobi for an interview. There is a parent that needs medication. And you know, all that.
Yeah.
So what government wants to do is you stop taking care of these people. Yet it is the government that has not provided jobs for these people.
To support all these people.
Now, when government will ask you, we are going to create jobs for these people, Mjengo will not take everyone on board. You see? So Dr. William Ruto needs to think about this.
So what you want him to do
the
is,
other thing you need to know, why is he concerned about housing? It is no longer an issue of the national government.
Boss.
It is not. Housing is devolved.
You were advising him just the other day.
Yes,
to
I
go with
was.
housing.
And even now, I was hoping he would reach out.
When you moved
now
over to Raila's side, Raila was saying the same thing about housing.
No, housing. No, even me, I was pushing housing between 2017 and 2022. And the reason was, initially, create some jobs. And there was that latitude. There was the latitude. And that time, while I was pushing it, I never supported that we go further into citizens' pay slips to try and get this fund. Let me tell you, Eric.
Let's take a pause. I want us to take a pause first so we can come back and then continue with this. And then we will continue. You'll answer those questions. Anthony Kibagendi is the Member of Parliament for Kitutu Chache South. He is also a member of the Health Committee of the National Assembly. He's our guest this morning. Sarit Center is 40 years. Do you know that, Anthony?
I learned that yesterday.
40 years. Can you imagine?
Were you there? Did you go to Sarit?
Yeah, I started going to... Me, I'm a Bonushago. I came to the city after campus.
University.
I was about to tell you to spend 2,040, but now you said that if you spend another 2,500, there might be problems. But Sarit Center is saying, celebrate with us this month as you turn 40. And if you spend 2,040 shillings at Sarit, then you could get a chance to enter into this magic spin whereby you could win a car, you could win a cruise, you could win shopping vouchers, gym vouchers, all sorts of fantastic stuff. 1 and 2 p.m. every day down at the Sarit Center. And we here at Spice FM also saying, tell us what you would spend the 2,040 on, and you could win a voucher. A hamper.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Bro, the game is about to start. Let's go. Yeah. But just give me a minute, man.
What's up? Who are you chatting with?
I'm just filing my returns, then we bounce. Because I hope you remember the deadline is June 30th. The game will start, banner. Where it doesn't take time. And yep, I'm done.
That was fast. Wait, show me how you've done yours because I don't want to pay any penalty.
Just log into itax.kra.go.ke and file your returns. And if you don't know how to, just go to KRA's YouTube page and watch a tutorial. It's that easy.
Allah, filing returns is easier than cooking.
Easy peasy, msay.
Kenya Revenue Authority reminds all PIN holders to file their 2022 tax returns on or before 30th of June 2023. For assistance, call 0711 099 999 or email callcenter@kra.go.ke. You can also visit any of the KRA service centers or any Huduma center countrywide. Kenya Revenue Authority. Tulipe ushuru, tujitegemee.
Bro, the game is about to start. Let's go.
But just give me a minute, man. Malize.
What's up? Who are you chatting with?
I'm just filing my returns, then we bounce. Because I hope you remember the deadline is June 30th.
The game will start, banner.
Where? It doesn't take time. And yep, I'm done.
That was fast. Wait, show me how you've done yours because I don't want to pay any penalty.
Just log into itax.kra.go.ke and file your returns. And if you don't know how to, just go to KRA's YouTube page and watch a tutorial. It's that easy.
Allah, filing returns is easier than cooking.
Easy peasy, msay.
Kenya Revenue Authority reminds all PIN holders to file their 2022 tax returns on or before 30th of June 2023. For assistance, call 0711 099 999 or email callcenter@kra.go.ke. You can also visit any of the KRA service centers or any Huduma center countrywide. Kenya Revenue Authority. Tulipe ushuru, tujitegemee.
Yay, Mom! This! Oh, look! It's so beautiful! Mom, can I pick one?
Yes, pick. We need to win the car.
In fact, we need to
shop, redeem, and earn points with the Sarit Value Card. Enjoy free Wi-Fi and the convenience of the Sarit prepaid parking card and gift vouchers. Don't miss out on this great shopping experience. Sarit at 40, celebrating our journey together.
It is time for you to take your farming business to the next level, no matter how big or small your farming venture is. Agritech Africa and GrainTech Africa are inviting you to come and learn the latest technologies in agriculture, dairy, livestock, poultry, and grain farming. Over 150 exhibitors from all over the world will be at the KICC Nairobi from June 15th to 17th to show you how agriculture is being done globally. Entry is free. You cannot afford to miss this.
The clock says we're out of traffic hour. A little bit of it on Landis Road as you're getting into the city via way of the Kamkunji roundabout. It looks good coming off of Jogo Road. That's not going to be a problem. You can use Lusaka if you're trying to get then into the city. Landis might be a bit tight right about now. Lunga Lunga is also looking pretty good. Likoni onto the interchange and touching on the southern bypass is fine. Use the southern bypass to get into the city because there's a little bit of a hold up on Uhuru Highway as you get out into town. Much better on Outer Ring now. Everywhere you look this morning, traffic hour is over. Through the day, however, let's talk on Spice FM, KE, on Twitter.
Business News with Spice FM.
I'm Dennis Aseto. Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja's promised to help traders who are affected by an inferno that burnt down a large section of Toy Market in Kibra, Nairobi County to rebuild their stalls. After paying a visit to the affected market, Governor Sakaja took to the social media to sympathize with the traders on the losses they incurred. He noted that traders will be aided with temporary material and food support as they await to commence rebuilding. And Bata Shoe Company has come out to rubbish reports making waves online that it is closing shop in the country after decades in the business. The company, in a statement released through its managing director Benson Okumu, maintains that it is going nowhere just yet. The family-owned business, however, stated that it is merely embarking on what it intimated to be a routine yearly break during perceived low seasons. And pension funds in Kenya can raise 450 billion shillings, enough to jumpstart the government's affordable housing agenda. In a white paper presented to President William Ruto on October 13th last year, moments after being sworn in as the head of state, stakeholders in the pension industry in Kenya assured him that they will finance his housing vision. Efforts are underway to save the transfer of leather tanning equipment from Kenya Industrial Research and Development Institute Kisumu to Ewasungiro South Development Authority in Narok. Kirdi Director General Calvin Onyango says a transfer note from the Ministry of Agriculture, Livestock Development has been placed to them. Onyango says Kirdi has taken over the matter with their parent Ministry of Investment, Trade and Industry so that the transfer can be reversed. He noted that the leather processing equipment is currently being used by 5 micro, small and medium enterprises within the Lake Regional Economic Bloc. Elon Musk-owned social media giant Twitter is set to roll out a payment fund that will see content creators earn on advertisements served on their replies. The plan, set to begin with an initial payment of $5 million, will however only be available to content creators with subscription-based verified badges, which cost $8 monthly. He added that the firm will only consider ads viewed by verified users. For Spice Business, I'm Dennis Aseto.
Spice FM Business. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi. Mature, intelligent talk every morning.
Well, the next
Spice up yourself.
Continue and finish our conversation with Honorable Anthony Kibagendi, Member of Parliament for Kitutu Chacha South in Kisii County. He is also a member of the Health Committee of the National Assembly, and there is also that. So, Mheshimiwa Kibagendi has spent some good time telling us if he looks at what is urgent and a priority in this country, housing falls down. But number one among them is health. And then you talk about food, which is agriculture.
And then technical higher education.
And agriculture being one of the biggest things that can also employ people.
Mm-hmm.
And then you bring in education.
Technical higher education.
Technical higher education.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's focus on health, because now you're sitting there in the National Assembly, in the Committee on Health.
Yes.
And you're supposed to be oversighting health.
Mm-hmm.
Big issues happening with health.
Yeah.
Big issues from how counties are able to manage health, from how health workers have been pushing and advocating for a centralized employer, and all those things.
Devolving health was one of the biggest mistakes this country made. Because by devolving health, where we were, we have gone further down. Yeah?
In terms of what? Quality of service?
Quality of service. Quality of service.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, the first-term governors rushed to build more dispensaries and level 3 hospitals. But now, in terms of quality, we lack quality because, like in my constituency, we have 2 dispensaries that do not have personnel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have the structures. They have not even been partitioned. We do not have personnel.
So those things are not working.
They are not working.
People are not going to that health facility.
People are not going to that health facility. That is why, like in the larger Kisii, issues that should be handled at the sub-county level, all of them come into the main hospital, Kisii Level 6 hospital. That is supposed to be a referral hospital. Yeah. Things to do like maternity and stuff like that, malaria, these things can be dealt with at the sub-county hospitals. But the sub-county hospitals do not have capacity, and even if they have machines, they do not have people that can operate those machines. Yeah, counties let down this country in the first up to date. Why? Number one, but again, you cannot say it is just the counties. Sometimes it is even the treasury and the national government. Disbursement of funds for them to be able to do their work in good time is a problem.
Yeah.
They are not able to pay doctors and or generally medical practitioners in good time. So the morale is diminished. What these people do, they now go to these hospitals and dispensaries and then refer these patients to private hospitals where the private hospitals, they go and treat these patients there and get something from the private hospitals. So what we need is to change the law. And it is something we are looking at, whereby if you want to work for a private hospital, you work for a private hospital. If you are going to work for government needs to pay their doctors well, medical practitioners well, and then they focus on doing their job in the facilities that are owned by the public. Now we have a challenge, whereby you get to a hospital, you got a fracture, the imaging the machine is working, but there is no
technical person.
Sometimes there is no technical person in that county, not employed by that county, or they're actually employed, but because they are demoralized, they do not turn up for job. They do not turn up for work. Yeah.
So
Now the other thing is there are diseases that we had initially managed to deal with to a certain level, like HIV and AIDS. Why there is a spike is because counties are not doing their job. Why there is a rise in tuberculosis is because counties are not doing their job.
What is this job that you say specifically in terms of prevention of disease?
Number one, there is prevention that is done by both the national and the county government, and then the treatment bit. People are down there at the county. County governments do not have medicine. The practitioners are not in their places of work. Yeah. And it has become a norm, and counties are doing nothing about it. And then within every 2-3 months, medical practitioners are on strike. 2-3 half a year, they are on strike. So what we want to propose is government needs to, number one, have their priorities in order before we can start running around.
Which government?
The executive. Before we start running around thinking about housing, can we think about ensuring health works? Because if health works, even the job of a member of parliament, you'll not be pushed into getting into your pocket to pay medical bills. Yeah. And even you will not be in WhatsApp groups contributing for even minor ailments. Yeah. That is one. And if counties work and pay their debts, because when counties don't pay their debts, KEMSA cannot work. KEMSA supplies them with facilities and medicine and equipment, but counties don't pay. So when we propose that, why don't we at the treasury have the monies owed to KEMSA deducted and sent directly
at source
to KEMSA? Counties are up in arms because they know they'll not pay these debts. The pending bills.
Why do you want to run a county from?
We don't want to run counties.
Level?
We want just to ensure efficiency. We just want to ensure efficiency. There are very few counties that are doing well. Like Nakuru County is doing very well. Yeah, because again they ring fence some funds and they are used to run their facilities.
So assurance of this efficiency, that's why we have oversight. And you already have instruments of oversight in the persona of senators at the county level. Those people exist already.
Yes.
So why would we want to double a role? That's the first question. And then number two, from the things you said prior to this, it seems that you're delivering the case for a health service commission. There is a case then that can be made for a health service commission, which is what medical practitioners have been crying about for the last 10 years. We definitely need
a commission for the health practitioners that will ensure there is discipline and order in the way they do their work. Even like now, Teacher Service Commission. What is happening with the teaching fraternity is they have oversight all the way to the sub-county level. They have a sub-county director of education who ensures things run smoothly in terms of how teachers are managed, in terms of the discipline of teachers, in terms of even how teachers dress to work. Yeah, they push the head teachers and principals to ensure the job is done. Now, at the county level, who is doing that? Is it the county? Is it the governor? Is it the CEO of the referral hospital?
Mm-hmm.
You know, so we have a challenge. We have a challenge with the medical ministry, yeah, and especially at the county level. And if we are going to succeed, governors must agree to work closely with the ministry so that it will get to a point where they can be independent. Right now, they do not have capacity, to say the truth. They do not have capacity, and that is why they need some form of legislation for them to be able to do certain things the right way.
At the national level,
yes,
you in the health committee contribute to the appropriation that goes to the health ministry.
Yes.
How many billions are you giving to the health ministry in the next financial year?
It is close to 142 billion.
That's 142 billion.
Yes.
Right? It's about a third of all the money that goes to all the counties.
Yes.
Right? Oh, the biggest budget item in the counties is health.
Yes.
Health is a devolved function.
Yeah.
Why is a third of all the counties' money going to the health ministry, whose main role is policy and national programs?
Now, there are certain, there are other roles that are not well described in the Constitution that are, like now, the issues to do with Kenya Medical Training Colleges.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need to enhance their curriculum. We need to open up more campuses. They need tutors and stuff like that. That is a role that is at the national. Yeah. We have the vaccine docket, the BioVax. That is a national role, and it is something that we are just starting. KEMRI is a national medical research institute that needs enormous resources for them to be able to do research on a number of things. Yeah. We have other national government hospitals that are the major players in the medical industry, like Moi Teaching and Referral, Kenyatta National Hospital. We have Kenyatta University Teaching and Referral Hospital. We have Mathare Hospital. And these are giants. And you know the budgets that they consume. They are the hospitals that actually support all the counties, all the 47 counties. And a number of other, like now the spinal injury, the AIDS docket, the National AIDS Control Council, or the syndemic that deals with a majority of these diseases is also at the national. They are national.
If you look at all those big programs,
and
the
somehow,
national malaria program,
and
polio,
the polio program, TB and all that, and they support the counties. They work very closely with the counties.
So you can see, basically, these national ones are heavy. Right?
Yeah.
They provide cross-cutting services across the counties. When you go to the counties, they're providing the daily management of health services.
Yes.
And they should be dealing with it from the community level 1, that level at community health volunteers, all the way to level 5s.
Yes.
The argument that I'm bringing is now that you cannot justify the 147 billion shillings going to the national.
Yes.
Why do you sit back and allow the division of revenue bill to come with only 395, knowing how heavy the burden of just health is at the county level?
That is again something that we have discussed at the committee level and at the National Assembly level, where we are pushing for increased allocation of funds to the counties. And again, the other thing is, can counties also justify the little resources they get? Because what we see is the CEO for the referral hospitals building big houses and restaurants and hotels, governors buying properties in Karen and all that. So we also need to see them utilize these funds for the functions that they are meant for. While we also try to push at the national level that we need to increase the allocation of funds to counties to take care of the personnel emoluments and the day-to-day running of especially the health and agriculture dockets, and of course other development needs. Yes.
Anthony, we'll come back so we can continue this conversation. One hour is a short time.
Yeah.
So you'll come again because the next time we'd like to basically delve into the health dockets at the oversight level. Health is the one area where Afya House is called Mafia House. KEMSA is an issue. Right now, there's an unfolding issue at KEMSA.
We have a problem indeed.
Your oversight
in the ministry, but things are changing. The CS, Madam Susan, is doing quite a lot of work, and the new PSs, of course, they came and there was a bit of there were changes that were taking place. The acting director, Dr. Moth, is also doing a lot in trying to ensure that.
And why is
the
he
ministry,
still acting?
Can we please not have him as acting anymore?
How
He's been
can
acting for
that
the
is
last
something
4.5 years.
he's been not 4.5. It's been longer than that. Yeah? We are also asking the same, and I believe in our next committee meeting, that is one of the things we'll be able to push and ask why he's acting up to. He's serving in some international
WHO.
Yes, where he's representing the country. Yet here he's acting. I believe when you call me up next time, we'll I would wish that we also invite our ABO chairman. He's called Dr. Pukose. Well versed. He's served as a doctor in public hospitals and in this particular committee in more than one term. So it will be a wonderful opportunity for us to come and open it up for people to understand
we will
our
definitely
role.
do that. The Honorable Anthony Kibagandi, MP Kitutu Chache South, member of the Health Committee of the National Assembly. Thank you very much for tuning into the Situation Room today. Have a lovely day. 10 a.m.
Good morning, this is Newswire. Dennis Asato. Kenya has extended an offer of 300 positions in the higher learning institutions to Djiboutian students, and the same fee is applicable to Kenyans.